Welcome into ESPN College Football Primetime Friday night from Baltimore. The magnificent marching machine ready to rock and roll inside Hughes Stadium as the Bears take the field. They want to protect this house against Deshaun Jackson and his Delaware State Hornets. First year coaching this program, and they are off to an amazing start as we say hello and welcome you inside with the MEAC and Black College Football Hall of Famer Jay Walker. I'm Tiffany Green. And when you think about just former NFL players turn head coaches, you think of Coach Prime. But Deshaun Jackson is continuing the success that we saw in some other previous coaches, and what he's done at Delaware State has been nothing short of incredible.
Absolutely. I think very unexpected for Delaware State fans. That's been a great thing. What this team has done is they've taken on his personality. He expects to win. He demands more. And right now he's got Delaware State competing for a championship, something they have not done in decades.
Well, that's right, Jay. In fact, you have to go back to 2007, the last time the Hornets won the conference title. The last couple of years, this is what it's looked like, 2-21 overall. So obviously you're looking for some new life, some fresh blood. Deshaun Jackson has been that. They decided to bring him in on December 27th, and what they have gotten is already paying dividends here in this 2025 season at 6-3 to start the season and undefeated in conference play. How does that happen?
Well, you would think this Deshaun Jackson, wide receiver, NFL legend, they would throw the football all over the place. But to Deshaun Jackson's credit, he's playing to the strength of his team. And the strength of Delaware State football is running the football. They run the football better than any other program in the country at this level. And how they're able to do it, they've got a 1-2 punch. Starting off with Gillis, the back that can hurt you in so many ways all over the field, but he specializes in running in between the tackles. Very difficult to bring down. And you follow that up with the home run hitter. James Jones is speed, speed, and more speed. Once he finds a crease, you are not going to catch him. This 1-2 punch is dynamic, and they need to make special plays tonight for the Hornets.
Well, the numbers that they have put up tonight, or this season rather, 910 yards for Marquise Gillis. He averages just over 6.5 yards per carry. For James Jones, he's equally been impressive. The guy who's tasked to stop him along with his defense for the Bears, Eric Hunter's got to be the point of attack.
Inside linebackers are going to be the key, and Eric Hunter is a true NFL prospect. They love all the dynamics he brings into the football game, but tonight we're going to need Eric Hunter to be all over the football field. He's got the tools to be disruptive, to make the tackles behind the line of a scrimmage, but if Morgan State wants to pull an upset and defeat Delaware State tonight, he has to play like the MEAC Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, that's what he was voted in the preseason, and that's what he's hoping to do tonight. Deshaun Jackson, good look at him on the opposing sideline. The series history between these two teams, Morgan State leads overall in this series 42-26, and they have had success in their 10 of their last meetings, including winning the last 6. So Morgan State won the toss. They will defer, so Del State will get the ball first here at Hughes Stadium. And we're underway. And here upon the return, it's Delaware State getting going. And quickly down is Samuel Scaife IV. As there are going to be a lot of tensions. There was already something brewing on the sidelines or pregame on the field, and just a lot of energy being brought between these two teams. Caden Bennett, who has done a fantastic job, the graduate out of Reno, Nevada, the quarterback leading the way. He can beat you a couple of ways, both through the air, better than 1,100 yards in passing yards, and then also he's acting like extra running back in the backfield, Jay.
More than an adequate rusher, does a good job managing the running game, but very underrated passer. He can hurt you with some big throws from the pocket.
Go quickly out of his hands, the pass complete to E.J. Core, Edward Core, with the reception and the first down.
You know, you alluded to something about the tension between these teams. I cannot recall a game we've done in recent memory where there's been so much. It was like you could hear an ice pick drop and hit the ground. These coaches were so dialed in and focused, and the players. This is going to be a very intense ball game. A good old-fashioned MEAC knock them down, drag them out contest.
Well, here, there's James Jones on the carry. Jones with plenty of room along the left side across the 40-yard line. And there he goes, taking off. And James Jones strutting into the end zone. Hornets on the board. Well, you said James Jones was the home run hitter, and wonderful display of that on that last carry.
He showed off the speed. The Baltimore City kid making a homecoming of sorts. He's from right up the road in Baltimore. Does a good job getting the daylight. Eric Hunter not able to catch him. And we said if he gets an angle on you, you can forget about it. James Jones erupts early for the Hornets.
A 68-yard touchdown run on the opening possession, less than a minute off the clock for Delaware State. So a quick strike explosion for the Hornets. And on to attempt the extra point, Thomas Manning. Hold down, kick is up and through. And a 7-0 lead for the Hornets. But my, oh my, Jay, that is what James Jones can do for you.
You know, and the offensive line does a good job. Even if you don't create a hole, you don't allow the defensive line to penetrate in your backfield. Once they held him at a standstill, then it was up to James Jones to find a crease on the outside, run the daylight. Offensive line coach Eugene Chung doing a really good job coaching those guys for Delaware State on the offensive line. And you follow that up with their running back coaches, Clinton Portis. So they put together a really good staff there. And the running game is what's driving the force for Delaware State.
And Damon Wilson on the other side trying to find some answers since taking over this program in his 4th season here at Morgan State. They've been known for their defense, but right there getting gashed on the opening possession.
And I'd say Morgan State's been known for their defense and slow starts. And you give up a big explosive play early on, which they said they cannot afford to do, off to another slow start. They're going to have to rely on their offense, try to match.
Here on the return, the Bears try to answer, setting up the return. Malik Leatherberry across the 30-yard line. And really, if you're just watching this Morgan State team for the first time, you'll understand that they have been in a number of football games. Jay, the 3-6 record does not indicate how tough this football team is and how good they are when you look at these close losses.
You know, the fact that, you know, they lost to Towson with 15 seconds left to go in the game on a different type of play. They lost on a Hail Mary to Georgetown, lost to Howard in overtime, and then to South Carolina State. Very competitive team. They can play with anybody. They just have to learn to start beating anybody.
Here's the Bears' first possession. Raymond Moore the 4th, and Raymond Moore the 4th with a strong carry. An interesting story there, Jay, how they've been able to stay in games with a shuffling of quarterbacks, because Raymond Moore the 3rd, rather, is the 4th string quarterback for the Bears.
Yeah, and they like him. He has the size and intangibles that you like. 6'4", 180 pounds. Local guy from Mervo High School, which is right down the street from Morgan State. His future is bright, but as you mentioned, started the season as the 4th string quarterback and has gotten better as the season has progressed.
Trying to get that 1 yard, and Jason Collins Jr. is able to pick it up. And Jason Collins Jr., who came in as the preseason offensive player of the year in the conference. So a lot of high hopes as this group was looking to get over the hump. Finished 6-6 last season, finished 3rd in the preseason poll this year. And here on first down, that's Leatherberry in motion. And Moore looking. He's being chased, and Moore again scampers once more. Another first down picked up by the Bears QB.
And this is what you expect to see from a freshman quarterback like Raymond Moore III. He got fooled on the play. His pre-snap read, he locked in and was anticipating, I'm going to throw the slant route. Slant route wasn't there, which was a mental mistake on his behalf, but athletic enough to get out of trouble and pick up the first down.
So after that 14-yard run, puts them in Hornets territory. From the Del State 44. And it's Moore gunning for it and just overthrows the intended target. That was a rocket out of the hand as Justin Perry was the closest to it.
And something to be concerned about if your offensive coordinator, Apollo Wright. Moore's not seeing the field well. You know, got fooled on the previous play on that pass attempt, threw into double coverage when he had a couple of other wide receivers that I saw open from here in the box. So you have to settle him down. He has to do a better job of figuring out what Delaware State is doing to him defensively.
Here on 2nd and 10, Jason Collins Jr. in the backfield with him. It's Moore. Again, goes to the left side, hauled in by JoJo Kennerly. JoJo Kennerly, redshirt junior, who is the heady veteran of this wide receiver group, pickup of 8.
And a good job standing in the pocket, and that's what you're going to need. You're going to need your wide receivers to help out your quarterback because of his inexperience. Don't just settle for making the catch. Pick up positive yards after you make the catch.
So here on 3rd and 2, line the game, the 34-yard line. And on the carry, it's a first down after Randall Nauden picks it up. Nauden, who came over from Army and added to that stable of running backs for the Bears.
And good response by Morgan State offensively. Moving the ball, not putting the defense on the field right away. See if they can capitalize and cap off this drive. They're set up for play action right now if they decide to call it.
3 receivers to the top of your screen. Instead, they hand it off. Jason Collins, who's turning those feet and wrapped up and brought down. Brian Bates was there, the linebacker from the Hornets, to take him down. Bates out of Centerville, Virginia. One of those players who is well liked on the team for his many skills. Among them, one of the team barbers.
That's always the most popular guy on the team.
Yeah.
Well, in my generation, nowadays, you know, they grow their hair a little bit longer now. They just get edge ups and, you know, taps. But you needed the guy that could give you a clean cut, particularly on game day.
They swing it out to Jason Collins well in the backfield, and Jason Collins continuing to trudge on and make good out of that pickup of 2 as Samuel Scaife, the 4th, knocks him out.
This is a great play by Collins. You know, fantastic job. It's not going to show for much in the stat sheet, but this is a lateral pass. He threw this ball behind him. If he doesn't catch that, that's a live football fumble. They had an angle on him, but he turned on the speed. He took that play and made some positive yards on something that wasn't there.
That ball batted down as Moore tried to toss it in the air, and right there to bat it away was the defender Quincy Robinson, the other barber on the team, by the way.
And you have to recognize this. You can't throw through somebody. He's coming untouched. You have to find a throwing lane where to deliver that football. Another instance in which I believe they fooled the freshman quarterback, not knowing if that defensive end was rushing the passer or dropping into coverage.
Alex Amaya right at the comfort level of Damon Wilson. He's at 44 yards out. He boots it up, and it is through. The field goal is good, and Morgan State answers with a field goal, a season long for Amaya. And Morgan State is trailing, but they get on the board after that field goal. Let's go back to last Thursday in the link, and it was Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson, former Eagles teammates now as first-year head coaches for their program. What an amazing and electric atmosphere it was. And yeah, that was like, well, it was a Delaware State home game, and it felt that way inside the link, but a lot of HBCU love all around. And we saw a replay of what we saw last week from James Jones breaking off big runs, 27-20. The brotherly love was there at the end of the game. 47,000 plus to that game.
Yeah, that game surprised us. I mean, you know, that's one of the few times we went to the stadium and we're like, whoa, there's something brewing here that we didn't anticipate. Hats off to the Philadelphia Eagles organization, the stadium, that was first class, and the fans. The fans showed up and showed out in Philadelphia last week.
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson just talked about the way that the city of Philadelphia bought in, and it was like, it wasn't just for Del State, it was for the culture. You know, and that was the beautiful part about it, and that's some of the new energy that he has brought to this program.
He expects a lot from his team, brought some transfers in, some new players, but he was so dialed in the pregame. I mean, it's championship or bust for him. That's his mindset. And, you know, you kind of want that. He doesn't settle for expectation like if we're just competitive, that'll be good. His mindset is, why can't we win this whole thing? And they knocked off one of the best teams in the conference 2 weeks ago in North Carolina Central, which was really a statement game that put Delaware State football on the map.
First penalty of the game, Toby Johnson, our referee for tonight, and this MEAC officiating crew. Signaling that it's going against the Hornets. And so we'll wait for the call here. And there's some further discussion here with
during the return team number 40. First down, Delaware.
So I was waiting to see what the outcome of that was going to be and what Damon Wilson was going to do.
It must be some misinterpretation, because you take a holding, you don't re-kick it, you move him back. Battle of field position. Depending on where the hold is, I don't know if that was explained clearly, but nevertheless, let's see what Morgan State can do defensively to try and slow down this rushing attack, which hit them with an explosive play in the very first drive.
They're going to keep it on the ground. You know that. This time Marquise Gillis picks up one. Gianni Bullet Woodson Brooks was the first bear to get to him. Well, you go back to that last drive, just 2 plays, 79 yards. And that big one broken off by James Jones. That's the explosiveness that is this Delaware State offense that leads FCS in rushing at more than 302 yards on the ground per game. Caden Bennett, the Sacramento State transfer quarterback, now with the Hornets. He's looking, feels the pressure, flushed out the pocket, throws it, and complete. What a grab hauled in by Nathan Stewart. He bobbled it around, kept that concentration, and was able to secure it when he came down.
And did a really good job as he was going towards the ground, able to locate the football and haul it in. Wow, great concentration on that catch. I thought after he lost it in the air right there, that was going to be the end of it, but he was able to find the football and use the defender and make the catch.
Well, we knew that they would kind of switch things up a little bit. Another quarterback in there as
going with a little wildcat type formation there, just trying to force feed the running game there.
no gain on the play, so 2nd and 10, giving different looks. Nemo Washington, the offensive coordinator, really likes that inside zone run. They're going to do a lot of 20 personnel, but they're going to also switch it up in its packages with the Wildcat here on 2nd and 10 with Bennett back in the game, and he takes off plenty of space, wisely slides. And 9 yards, and it's going to set up 3rd and 1 after that tackle by Jaden Carter.
When you're doing rush defense, you have to identify the football. And take a look at the linebackers from Morgan State. They all overcommit to the right. Huge running lane for Bennett. You have to focus on your keys and play assignment football versus a running team that likes to run that inside zone play, which is the bread and butter for Delaware State.
First 3rd down of the night for Del State. It's 3rd and 1, and right there to wrap them up behind the line of scrimmage. Excellent play made by Woodson Brooks once again from his linebacker position.
Timed it up perfectly. I mean, coming there, got a good jump on the start. The quarterback is taught, hey, if somebody's going to have a negative play, you keep it and hold on to it. Good job of getting to the exchange point, forcing a 4th down.
A big swole as you see him bulging out there. And here on 4th and 4, Nemo Washington believes in this offense. They're going to go for it here. Got to pick up 4, and they got it. Plenty of room up the middle for Marquise Gillis, who preseason first-team all-conference selection. Nemo Washington knows exactly the weapons he has on offense.
Live and die with this offensive line, and you find yourself on the road in a conference game. You see something that you like, and the young offensive coordinator, Nemo Washington, goes with the bread and butter, inside zone. Until a team stops the inside zone, they will continue to see it. And the interior line for Delaware State doing a good job.
Bennett, tough one, and another one-handed catch made by Terrence Roan. And you go back to Nemo Washington, obviously very familiar with this area, played his college ball at Bowie State for Damon Wilson when he was the head coach. They even coached together for a little bit, but he is one of the young, bright minds in this coaching landscape, and Damon Wilson knows just what Nemo Washington can offer.
Yeah, they know each other well. I mean, Washington played quarterback for Ed Shields at Suitland High School, then went to Bowie State, career cut short, became a coach early. A lot of intricacies between these two. And it'll be interesting, you know, for me as a football guy from that DMV area, you know, Damon Wilson's known for defense. Bowie State, tough defense. Warwick State, tough defense. Nemo, he thinks he can crack the code. Nemo Washington's like, we do some offensive things here, and he's really trying to get the better hand in this game right now, doing a great job calling plays.
Another 3rd down for this Hornets offense in Bears territory. Gillis in the backfield. They hand it off to their rock, trying to bounce it to the outside, but good pursuit there and disciplined football from the Bears defense, and Blanche Gold was one of them there.
2-down territory. If you go for it on 4th down when you're backed up in your own territory, once you get to another situation, even if they stretch it out, where it's 4th and 4 and you're in positive field goal position, positive territory, you had to know that it was going to be 2-down territory for Delaware State.
When you see the differences of drive, 10th play of this one only made 2 to pick up that touchdown. And here with 4th and 3.
Aggressive play calling.
And prior to the snap, you hear the whistles. And did Morgan spin a timeout? So Morgan State's going to talk it over before this big upcoming 4th down. Come back with us to Baltimore. Here's our ABC Saturday college football triple header, a top 10 matchup in Lubbock. BYU and Texas Tech, then Texas A&M travels to Como to take on 19th ranked Missouri, followed by Frank Wilson, first game as interim head coach at LSU, traveling to Tuscaloosa to take on 4th ranked Bama.
Ooh.
All right, tough win there and a tough one here for Deshaun Jackson's team, trying to convert here for their second 4th down of the night. 4th and 4 in Bears territory. The line to gain the 39-yard line of Morgan State.
Huge play coming up early in this contest. Delaware State trying to establish we're on the road, but we're here to take care of business. Going for it on 4th down.
Looking to see what the Bears offer, then we'll change at the line there from Bennett with Jaden Jenkins flanked to his left. They bring everybody, and right there, the pursuit of Morgan State, just too tough. Jaden Carter was the one leading the attack and dialed up perfectly by Anton Sewell, and his defense delivered.
You knew they were going to bring the pressure to try and get to the quarterback, and you said they brought everybody. Well, they brought everybody and the kitchen sink. Jaden Carter, #1, great job of the recognition, not giving up on the play. Bears with the big stop.
Founded in 1867, located here in Baltimore, the 3rd largest HBCU, under the leadership of Dr. David K. Wilson. You like to use that telly right there.
Hey,
Jay, it's
3rd largest HBCU, we're going to highlight that.
Absolutely, and Damon Wilson, who was brought in to try to restore some of the prominence that they have seen throughout the years. 4 MEAC championships in this program's history. Last one shared in 2014. And Damon Wilson is a guy who had success at the Division II level, 3 straight CIAA conference championships in Bowie State. And now he's been oh so close and on the brink with this program the last few seasons. As more with the pass incomplete, it was Justin Perry, the intended target. But it's kind of like that close but no cigar, and coming into the year, there were greater expectations, and one of the areas where he felt very confident was that quarterback room.
Yeah, the offense. He thought he finally had a quarterback for years had been the defense was great at Morgan if they ever got an offense. Well, they felt like they had the pieces of the puzzle today for all this year in the offense, and just the injury bug has let them down a little bit, and they're trying to hang in there and stay competitive. But this is a program so close, so close. I mean, they've won games against CAA teams, non-conference games. They've had respectable wins out there, but just have not put it together. So they continue to compete, but they cannot find a way to get over the hump.
Here the defense coming on strong and sniffing that play out well. No gain on the play. And so now it's going to bring up 3rd and 10. From their own 45-yard line.
Man-to-man coverage, find a matchup, look for a crossing route, or take a deep shot.
Instead, the sack brought down, and the fumble as the ball comes out as well. And you couldn't have asked for better defense if you're the Hornets.
And that's taking advantage of a freshman quarterback. Once you saw them go with man-to-man coverage when they went across the formation, you have to realize things have to go a little quicker. They're coming for me. So they're coming at me. They've got one more than I can block. Protect the football, but gets loose with the football. Great recognition by the Delaware State defense. Man-to-man coverage, they're coming for you. Put the football away. That's why so often you hear me say the worst thing to do sometimes is not turn the ball over. Punt the ball away in a battlefield position. Hurts his team, puts him behind the 8 ball right now. And Delaware State defensive coordinator Brandon Blackman, great job dialing up the blitz.
Well, you got to credit Samuel Corpoy for knocking that ball loose, and then Nashawn Biggs coming up with the fumble recovery, and it sets up Delaware State with excellent field position. They scored on their first after a quick explosive play from James Jones, and then netted nothing on their last. Here another excellent opportunity.
I think this will be pretty obvious that you have right here. I mean, is the knee going down? He's trying to, they knock it out. That ball is out clean. And the ball was just held too far away. A good friend of mine, Pep Hamilton, one of the quarterback gurus, he's so big on ball security at all times. And right there was no ball security. Ball got away from Moore, the third, against an aggressive defense.
And so this likely won't take too long, as you mentioned. Cameron Thompson, the replay official, looking it over once more. Jay, this is not necessarily the start if the call holds as is that Morgan State is looking for. I mean, you've got the hottest team, or one of the hottest teams in HBCU football in Delaware State. They're 2-0 in the conference and trying to remain that way. Del State is rolling coming into Baltimore. Meanwhile, Morgan State searching for their first conference win. While we have this time, Jay, let's talk about your HBCU power rankings.
I mean, and this is the key one. What do you do? They had such a shocker of a weekend when both North Carolina Central and Jackson State lost.
The ruling on the field is upheld. First down, Delaware State.
So, that being the case, I think if you ask me right now, what football team is playing the best football, it's Alabama State. Followed by South Carolina State starting to get in their groove. Jackson State, although they beat Alabama State, because they lost to Grambling, I just think Alabama State's playing the best. Delaware State is hot. We're starting to see they're the real deal. Prairie View climbing up the ladder. It's been a long time I've not had North Carolina Central in my top 5 HBCU power rankings, but they've got to play themselves back into the top 5.
Well, here, Terrence Roan, and Roan, who shakes off a tackler. As you saw, a lot of gray jerseys at the line of scrimmage trying to show maybe blitz. 4-yard pickup there for the Hornets. And we'll be in Durham next week, Jay, for a big conference game between South Carolina State, the defending MEAC champions, traveling to the home of North Carolina Central.
Some more Friday night football.
Yeah. We're gonna need Eric Hunter right about now. Here's 2nd and 5. They're encroaching deeper into their territory. And the RPO, Caden Bennett, And Bennett with really no room to run, no gain on the play, as Jordan Johnson feisty in the hole.
And one thing about Morgan State, their defense only gives up 125 yards rushing per game, so that's really good. And we know that Delaware State likes to bully you. They're going to have to soften them up. Normally, I'm like, stick with your identity. If you run the football, if you're a running team, run it. Against a team that's really good against the run, you need to test their secondary. And Caden Bennett, the quarterback, is going to have to make some plays with his arm to loosen up this Bear defense.
We saw him 16 of 18 last week, 455 yards and a touchdown in that win over Norfolk State. Here, he uses his arm again. This time, nice jump cut made by Maurice Clark. And Clark, the tight end, gets him inside the 10, pushed out around the 6-yard line. First down, or first and goal, rather, after that gain of 19.
Yeah, decision-making by Caden Bennett was on point right away. Get the ball out to the flat, quick throw, easy throw, and allow the receiver to pick up the extra yardage needed for the first down and then some.
But Jay, it was just what you said, soften them up, obviously expecting run, run, run. They were able to find the tight end in the flats here. First and goal. And that's Core in the Wildcat, the tight end who can do it all. And Core is trying to will his way into the end zone, and he's going to be held up just short. They're going to say maybe at the 1-yard line, and a pickup of 4.
I mean, that's bully ball right there. You know, we talk about how Delaware State takes on the personality of their head coach. Deshaun Jackson, undersized wide receiver with speed for days and knew how to play like a warrior. What does he do? Put the tight end there, get behind the offensive line. Pretty decent job of sniffing out this play by Morgan State, but no, you can tell Delaware State plays football with a chip on their shoulder.
Second and goal. They hand it off to Marquise Gillis, and Gillis once more stood up, the push up front. And right now, the Bears holding tough, trying to keep the Hornets out of the end zone after they scored on that opening possession, likely the final play of the first quarter. So a 7-3 ball game after one. It's the visiting Hornets with the lead, but the Bears trying to make sure they keep Deshaun Jackson's team out of the end zone. Third and goal coming up in the second quarter when we return. Back here at Hughes Stadium on the campus of Morgan State University, it's Dell State to start this second quarter with 3rd and goal. They scored on their opening possession. Morgan State answered with a field goal. That's how we got to 7-3. And here, Eric Hunter and company trying to make sure the Hornets remain out of the end zone. Here the carry, the ball pops loose and falling on top of it, right place, right time as a touchdown. One of the offensive linemen gets to it. And that's Amari Francis. Francis, the sophomore out of Maywood, New Jersey, falls on it in the end zone, and in an orthodox way for the Hornets to score their second touchdown of the game.
Great recognition by Francis. Tough play for Morgan State, considering they sniffed out the play. They had the ball carrier stopped, fumbled the ball into the end zone, and they recovered. That's like Morgan State football. Tough break like that. They play great, they're in the right position, but something crazy happens, and they're on the bad end of it.
Well, to your point, Jay, we've talked about the close losses, how they have been in ball games, led ball games, things kind of unexpectedly falling apart at the last minute. Here in this one, just an unfortunate turn of events. If you're a Bears fan, they popped the ball loose from James Jones, but fortunately for the Hornets O-lineman Amari Francis, he was right there.
Yeah, he was the only one that saw it. I mean, the ball pops up, you know, Francis coming over from that guard position and saw it right away, went over and got on the football. That's the way the ball bounces sometimes. Unfortunate. It was great defense. You can't game plan versus a fumble by the opposing running back.
So DeSean Jackson's team with a 14-3 advantage, and so far the Coach Jack era is off to a fast start, not only for the program but here tonight. This one off the bounce, and the return from Malik Leatherberry. Leatherberry, who's speedy, gets out to about the 32-33-yard line.
You know what's going to happen? You know, as you saw the approaching storm play, we know next year, approaching storm will probably be twice the size they are now. That's how big the Coach D-Jack effect is.
Well, here are the numbers from the first quarter. 137 total yards, 95 on the ground. That, of course, by that big run from James Jones. Meanwhile, you're going to have to get this redshirt freshman Raymond Moore III going. They call him Runway Ray. And hopefully they can get him into a rhythm to move this offense along. Jason Collins Jr. with really no room to run and good ID up front.
Just trying to get the running game going to help out the freshman quarterback. You see the vision of Jason Collins. He looked at 3 different gaps along that offensive line, nowhere to run.
Collins, who was Rookie of the Year a season ago. You see 3 receivers stacked to the top of your screen that go with Collins again and again. Held up front, Brian Bates was all up in the mix.
And Brandon Blackman, the D coordinator for Delaware State, winning this chess match versus Morgan State offensive coordinator Apollo Wright. Morgan afraid to throw the football because, as we saw earlier, Raymond Moore III not recognizing what looks he was seeing defensively. So you try to cover that with a couple conservative running plays, hoping your offensive line can help. But this is the worst situation you can be in for Morgan State, an obvious passing situation with the freshman quarterback against an aggressive defense.
1 for 3 tonight on 3rd downs. 2-by-2 set. And this play whistle dead. There's a flag out on the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 7, 5-yard penalty, it's 3rd down.
So it backs them up 5 more yards, and again, just adding on to what is not going right as flood.
And that's not knowing your assignment. If your job is to go over there and get set, go get set for that 1,001 count. Cannot put that on the quarterback. That's a mental error. Hand the ball off in the situation. Take your medicine. Don't be afraid to call the draw and punt the football.
Instead, they bring the pressure. They try to throw it. Pass incomplete. And right now, they're very fortunate to have gotten away with this. And this Hornets team has, like, all the juice right now.
Absolutely. That could have been an ugly play. Quincy Robinson doing a great job from his defensive end position, number 12. They're sniffing out everything. Get to the quarterback. You're not there. The defensive lineman covering the running back. They're dialing it up right now.
3 and out forces the punter to come on for the Bears. He gets it away. And a flag is down in the midst of the punt. And seemingly some communication challenges with the officiating crew here tonight and getting the call. And as they're discussing it, penalty marker down at the 31-yard line.
Kicking team number 42. 10-yard penalty.
All right, so the penalty will be enforced when we come back. 14-3 lead for Del State. We'll get you up to how we got here. The opening drive of the game for Delaware State. It did not take long at all. 2 plays, 79 yards, aided by this 68-yard run from James Jones to get the Hornets on the board first. But we did see an answer from Delaware State. They put up, or rather, Morgan State, they put up a field goal, and then a lucky turn of events for the Hornets. The fumble by Jones, recovered by Francis in the end zone. And that's how we get to this 14-3 ball game here. Jay Walker, Tiffany Green back with you from the Charm City. And Delaware State gets the ball. They started on their own 32-yard line. Low snap handle, the handoff, and the run up ahead from James Jones from right here in Baltimore.
And crucial drive right here, because we know that Coach Jack wanted his team to come out and put this team away early. So this is an opportunity. If you can go up 21-3 in this contest, that's making a statement showing that you're one of the better teams in this conference during a conference game, trying to come on the road and put your opponent away early.
And there's Eric Hunter, who was giving chase to Caden Bennett. Well, Delaware State, founded in 1891 in the capital city of Delaware. We've talked about the number of HBCUs in capital cities, 6,400 plus under Tony Allen as the president. A big 3rd and 5 coming up for D-Jack's Hornets.
Offense has everything at their disposal. Do not be surprised if they elect to run this football.
Bennett looking, instead gets it out. It's a quick underneath to Gillis, and it's going to be good enough for a 1st down. And those little moments right there that keep the drive going have to be frustrating if you're this Bears defense.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they make you focus on the run so much, so the moment they drop back to pass, you kind of loosen up a little bit. But they give the ball to Gillis, just an extended handoff, and allow the running back to pick up the 1st down in space.
They hand it off once more to
Nice
Gillis, cut back inside. Deshaun Fields with the tackle. He's been banged up the last couple of weeks.
It's more than running the football in order to be a great runner. You talk about having the vision and the ability to react. This ball is the inside zone, so Gillis has to pick a hole. Everything's going left. Oh, wait, I got to get on the backside of my left guard, if you know what I'm talking about. Found that lane and picked up positive yards. Great vision.
They toss it, and good defense there, as knocking the ball loose was Hiroshi Carr. And on the pass break up there, another look here.
Good break on the ball. They get a hit on the quarterback, and the ball needs to be caught cleanly the 1st time around. I'm going to say this. Defensive coordinator Antoine Sewell has put his Morgan State defenders in the right place to make plays. They just have not been able to execute. Big 3rd down here.
3rd and 6. And the pressure, Bennett feeling it, going backwards all the way back to the 20. His own 20, he's got to escape, get loose. He heaves it while down the sideline and nearly intercepted. That was a gimme right there.
I think they're going to call him out of bounds before he threw that ball. I see an official ready to mark it, and was at the 34-yard line. But once again, we talk about Antoine Sewell been able to put him in the right position to make plays. They just haven't been able to execute. In that case there, did a good job of bottling in the quarterback with nowhere to go.
Well, bringing that pressure was Bullet Woodson Brooks. Loss of 13 on the play, backs him up, and they're going to say he stepped out of bounds.
Oh, no, he didn't.
No. I thought he let go just in time, but
it looked like he was stepping out of bounds, but I don't think his foot was down. Fortunate for Morgan State. That'll gain them about 30 yards of field position, but no, it won't. With a great punt.
Wonderful punt by Dyson Roberts, so much so that it goes into the end zone for a touchback. A 66-yard punt for Roberts. No return for the Bears. They get the ball when we come back. Here's our Week 10 Monday Night Football matchup. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and the 6-2 Eagles travel to Lambeau to take on Jordan Love and the Packers. Also, you'll see Nathan and Eli on ESPN2. Coverage kicks off with us, NFL Live at 3 Eastern in Green Bay. Then the Scott Van Pelt and Monday Night Countdown crew at 6 Eastern. And taking a look at these two quarterbacks. Jay, you're a quarterback, former quarterback, so I'm going to just step out of the way and let you do your thing.
I mean, normally you pick one or the other. I'll take the thrower over the runner, but Jalen Hurts at 70% and the 5 touchdowns on the ground.
You're looking at a former second-round draft pick of the Eagles, and Deshaun Jackson played 15 seasons in total, 8 with the Eagles. And he is Fly Eagles fly through and through here on 1st and 10 for the Morgan State Bears from their own 20. Moore takes off and slides and gets a positive gain on the play. About 5 or so yards. It's going to bring up 2nd and 5. And so what does Raymond Moore III, a young quarterback, need to do in this situation?
What he did on that previous play. That's going to be his style of play. Go with your first read. If it's not there, take off. Avoid the negative plays. And he's a very effective runner. More quick than he is fast, which is rare for a 6'4" quarterback. But make a quick decision and live with it.
More yards on the ground than through the air. The 4th string quarterback for the Bears on 2nd and 5 elects to once more try to take off and try to pick up the first down. He's going to be about a couple of yards short.
You know, and that was an example there, but I think he waited half a second too long before he decided to escape from the pocket. You know, if it's not there right now, the defense once again is confusing you with the secondary. If it's not there at the top of your drop, pump fake and get out of there. Had he evacuated the pocket a little bit sooner, probably would have picked up the 2 yards he's short of the first down.
3rd and a couple. Got to get to the 30-yard line. And you see everybody up for Delaware State. Just about. They fall back, and Moore with the pass incomplete. It's going to bring up 4th and 2. Joshua Smith was the intended target.
And they just continue to make Moore uncomfortable in the pocket, not able to get settled, inaccurate throw. The rhythm of the passing game is not there for him right now. And you have to think at some point he'll find it in this football game, and that's when Morgan State will probably make a run for Coach Wilson. But in between, they just have to hold on until they figure out how to calm the freshman down.
Back-to-back 3-and-outs for Morgan State. Alex Amaya set to punt it away. Standing at his own 13, awaiting it is Julius Dominguez for the Hornets. A skying kick, fair caught from Dominguez as he brings it in and falls to the ground. It's the Hornets with the lead here in Baltimore. They'll get the ball back when you return. Good look there at Clinton Portis, the amount of NFL experience on this staff for Delaware State. Portis, the running backs coach after 9 seasons in the NFL. Remember, he was the offensive rookie of the year in the league back in 2022. And now on this staff, just dropping jewels and nuggets to these running backs left and right, and they are soaking it up. And we're seeing the return on that investment on the field.
You know, I think that's a challenge, and everybody says, "Oh, the knock for so many years was, oh, great players could be great players, but not great coaches." But you know, now they're kind of changing the narrative a little bit. Clinton Portis, his running back group is doing a fantastic job. Eugene Chung, the offensive line coach, is doing a great job. Former players, Deshaun Jackson, doing a great job thus far. So there's been a change. I think there's a change, and I think you have to give the HBCU culture a lot to do with that. You know, Coach Prime came in and did it. Now we see Deshaun Jackson doing it. Michael Vick is also doing it. Eddie Robinson Jr., Sam Shea down in the SWAC. So I think they're kind of fighting that trend that, you know, great players can't become great coaches.
Timeout taken by Delaware State. When you talk about great players, right, that transition to the NFL, when you think about the number of Pro Football Hall of Famers that came through the HBCU ranks, 4 in total here, starting with Roosevelt Brown, a 9-time Pro Bowler, played with the New York Giants. You think about Lynn Ford, a 3-time NFL champion. And Jay, some may forget about Leroy Kelly. You didn't. We were talking about him before the game, and of course, one of the most familiar names in Willie Lanier.
How about that? The 1972 NFL Man of the Year, All-Pro, Pro Football Hall of Famer. A lot of people would not be surprised. This was one of the more proud programs in HBCU football. Not too many schools go around saying they've got 4 gold jackets. Wonder if we should hit the folks out there in terms of what schools may have the most gold jackets.
That pass complete, and a nice move from Roan, and Roan with the reception. So far, Caden Bennett tonight, 7 of 10 and 70 yards through the air. He's hit 6 different receivers tonight.
And good adjustment there. You know, they realize that Morgan's really dialing in, getting pretty stout against the run. We mentioned that Bennett's going to have to make some throws from the pocket, and comes out throwing a strike.
So across midfield, and they run it. Marquise Gillis with no gain on the play.
And this is what makes Delaware State so dangerous. So you do a good job of bottling them up on first down, hold them to no yards. 2nd and 10, they can still throw the playbook at you. I mean, they're just as comfortable saying we can run the football on 2nd down and long as they are we can throw it on 2nd and long.
Injured player down on the field for Morgan State. It's Justin Dutton, the redshirt sophomore from right here in Baltimore. And the athletic training staff on the field to attend to the DN for the Bears.
And they wanted Dutton back this week playing that defensive end position. Big body, 6'4", 270-yard guy that's good against the run. But it's been that type of season for Morgan State, pardon me, with the bodies and guys going out with the injury bug.
I was going to say, the level of frustration that it causes a coach. And when we talked to Damon Wilson, you know, he was taking it as best as he could, but he said, I've not experienced a season like this where we've had this many injuries and this many close losses in the fashion that we've had it. I've never experienced a season like this in all of my college football coaching career, as you see Justin Dutton being taken off the field, and to his right is his coach, Damon Wilson. We hope that young man is okay.
And I mean, I think at a certain point that the MEAC has to evaluate. I mean, it's a smaller conference, 6 games. They all played at the end. The non-conference schedule is brutal for all these guys. I mean, it's brutal. I mean, they're taking on You know, the FBS schools, they're taking on some of the better FCS schools, non-conference. And by the time you get to conference play, it's almost like who has the best health. And they have to find a model in between in which it's fair. You want the best team to represent your team in Atlanta in the Celebration Bowl.
Well, you think about the number of weeks that they get off, nearly a month going into the Cricket Celebration Bowl. Because of that, that allows teams to get rest. Bouncing to the outside is James Jones, and Jones just lowering his head, and Laundry comes out on the field after that game of 1.
And I want to see this penalty. When I first saw it was close, and it's either going to be blocked in the back.
Block, offense number 9. 15-yard penalty. It's second down.
Kind of close as the running back was starting to break contain. You see number 9 in white, bottom of your screen. He comes over. By definition, they want you just to almost box him out like you're playing basketball. But that's a football play. It wasn't a cheap shot. He wasn't trying to do the knockout, wipe him out block. He was just throwing him off of his mark. And I agree with Coach Jack there. That's a tough call. You have to use better judgment to that. There was no malintent on that. He just threw a little chicken wing elbow on him, and the guy went down.
Thanks for that chicken wing elbow visual. That one intercepted, nabbed out of the air. That's Jordan Johnson, the strong safety, the graduate out of Lanham, Maryland. And first interception of the season for Jordan Johnson. And maybe that's exactly what Morgan State needs here.
Yeah, Bennett didn't see him. So Johnson was coming from that boundary cornerback position. That's why they tell quarterbacks, don't throw across your body and know where you're throwing in front of your wide receiver. He didn't do it. Johnson able to come over and come up with a huge interception.
We were watching Caden Bennett survey and look, didn't see 4th pick thrown for Bennett this season, and now Morgan State with an opportunity. They've had a couple of 3-and-outs. The only score of the game was that field goal on that opening possession for them. And here, a big run. That's Randall Nauden, and Nauden into Delaware State territory, a gain of 15 as he's down at the 46-yard line.
And I like that exotic formation that they went with, the inverted wishbone formation. When you get that, when you know what you're going to see on the outside, you're going to see one-on-one coverage, and then you keep everybody close in the box. So putting all these bodies in the backfield causes some confusion and kind of basically secures that you're going to get man-to-man coverage.
Under 6 minutes to go after that longest play of the night for Morgan State. Can they find more? The pass complete and into the hands of Malik Leatherberry. Raymond Moore III found an open man and a gain of 18. So back-to-back big plays here. Nice secure.
Really good job by Leatherberry getting underneath the football. Ball didn't even come close to touching the ground. Now you start moving the ball a little bit, they're going to bring pressure.
Tried to zip it in there to Leatherberry once again, and no flag there.
That was a tough break right there. I thought he got him around the collar. This is Leatherberry on the slant route.
Oh, he absolutely did. That should have been a PI.
But know that Brandon Blackman is going to bring Delaware State pressure right now. They want to try and take them out of field goal range. Morgan State got a little momentum, so when things get dicey, put pressure on the freshman quarterback.
You see the number of white hats up there at the line coming to pressure, and Raymond Moore III had him, man, and overthrows him. Had Jason Collins Jr. That would have been 6. Instead, it brings up 3rd and 10.
You have to make this one. Schematically, they set him up. You want to bring pressure. What are we going to do? We're going to fake. We're going to fake with the gentleman in the backfield. We're going to fake this block, and he's going to cut upfield. Right away, you got it. That's why we knew it. Oh, I'm not going to block. You see the linebacker in the trail position. Have to hit that throw. You cannot throw it out of bounds.
converted their first third down, haven't done so since. And here, they're just clobbering all over him and brought down. The big play made by Dedrick Gibson in the sack, driving him all the way back. Loss of 12 on the play, and frustrating there for this offense after they had a couple of big plays.
I mean, they're going to keep blitzing the quarterback, and he absorbed the blow from Anthony Hebert, number 7, but might have been better off just going down at that spot. They're really tough to call a game when you know they're going to keep bringing pressure on the quarterback, and he missed the pass on the previous play.
Maya's going to try to pin the Hornets inside the 10, and a missed opportunity. He had what he wanted, but not the coverage on the back end to respond. While we have the time, we'll tell you about tomorrow night. We have a star-studded West Coast NBA on ESPN matchup. Devin Booker and the Suns play the back end of a home-and-home in LA against Kawhi, James Harden, and the Clippers at 10:30 Eastern. After college football, the NBA Countdown crew tips off coverage at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. Both are also available on the all-new ESPN app. The magnificent marching machine looking on, ready, and we'll be leaving the stands in just a little bit to get ready for the halftime performance. Also, the approaching storm made the trip about 2.5 hours or so from Delaware. They're already getting moving. They'll go first. We're starting field position for the Hornets. What will they do with it here as the pass complete to Kyrie Benton? First time he's been targeted tonight.
And I want to see Delaware State show me something. They have dominated this first half. 14-3. You let Morgan State stay around. We know that Delaware State wanted to come in here and deliver a knockout blow early. They've had their chances, but have not been able to do it. Morgan State still lingering around. Delaware State needs to score some points to kind of take momentum going into the locker room at halftime.
Well, remember, they were putting together a nice drive going down the field, but they were intercepted on that last possession. And so here, going into the locker room, remember, the Hornets.
Another big play.
Can't go in the right direction as Eric Hunter, we talked about him in the open, the importance of him. He missed most of last season with a shoulder injury. He's been getting back to more of himself.
Yeah, this is what you need. See it and then track down the running back. He's on a great angle on the running back. Once he gets there, the play is over. They need more plays like that from the 6'4", 220-pound linebacker. You notice that part? 6'4", 220. That's what has NFL liking that. 6'4", 220, 230, can run. You see the arms. Has angles. They like to say he's got those angles.
Timeout taken on the field. Delaware State takes the timeout. We talk about the angles, and we talked about some of the great players here at Morgan State. Can Eric Hunter be a part of that legacy moving forward? As Jay, we're going to set up this week's Gimme 5.
Well, one thing about Morgan State, they take a lot of pride in their tradition and their program. So I'm going to give you the list. This is like not a, normally Gimme 5 is subjective. This is just facts. All right, which HBCUs have the most Pro Football Hall of Famers? Grambling #1, Jackson State 2, South Carolina State 3, Morgan at 4. A lot of people don't know that. Southern University comes in at number 3. I almost want to, kind of highlight this because I think one day Jimmy Smith's going to get the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And then they'll go to 5. So Tennessee State got 2 in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as well. So interesting to know. And you can quiz me, and I could probably tell you 98% of those guys off the top of my head who are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame from those schools. I don't know if you can do that yet, Tip, but you'll get there.
I mean, I'm almost there as that one dropped by James Jones. But I can chime in with Tiff's 2 cents. Okay, so if you want to go by the numbers, let me tell you that a couple of other Pro Football Hall of Famers, Mississippi Valley State, of course, you remember a guy by the name of Jerry Rice?
Jerry Rice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And Number 2.
Okay, so FAMU has 2 Pro Football Hall of Famers. However, I did UMES, University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Got to give some love to the state of Maryland, right? Art Shell is a Pro Football Hall of Famer for them. I was going to ask you if you knew that, but I just decided to tee it up for you.
Of course. I knew for sure you were going to take Florida A&M with the 2.
But I didn't put them on the list. They were a verbal mention, but I gave love to Valid.
Name the 2 from Florida A&M quickly.
Bob Hayes, Ken Riley.
All right.
Okay. Meanwhile, what can Morgan State do in these final 2 minutes and 44 seconds of the first half, understanding that if they put up points, they also get the ball back to start the second half.
And they'll get some momentum after, I think, kind of being pushed around and dominate a little bit. Simplify it for your quarterback. You tell your quarterback, 1, ball security. We cannot afford any turnovers, no interceptions. If you see something that you don't like, take off. Run. If you smell anything funny, take off. Just get to the line of scrimmage, and we'll live to fight another day. But I'd also like to see them utilize his legs. Get him involved running the football. He's very fast, and I want to see if Delaware State can catch up to him.
They hand it off. Jason Collins Jr. is quickly brought down by Samuel Corpoy and Brian Bates.
Now, play like that, negative play, I'm going into the 2-minute warning. I'm going to the 2-minute warning. The key is, if you're Morgan State and you can go into halftime down by 11 points, you would take that. Offensively, they've not been able to do it. Surprised Delaware State doesn't call a timeout to try and get the ball back to increase their lead.
When you think about Morgan's first drive, 10 plays resulted in a field goal, but since then, a few 3-and-outs, punt, a 3-play fumble. They're just things haven't necessarily gone their way. It takes us to the 2-minute timeout. We'll step aside here from Baltimore.
Introducing Verts. Swipe for news and highlights. Now available on the ESPN app.
Friday night football under the lights here at Earl C. Banks Field, Hughes Stadium at Morgan State. They've got the ball. Bears with 2nd and 11 here. 2 minutes to go in the first half. And Moore trying to take off and then brought down by Emerson Martin. Gain of 1 on the play. Delaware State does have a timeout remaining. Coach Jack electing not to use it here.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that. You know, I would have used it before the 2-minute warning, and then if you got to play like that, the 2-minute warning would have been your secondary timeout. But when you let the clock go below 2 minutes, you don't have that backstop. So Morgan State, I'm sure, going to take their time snapping this ball. Just up to the line. It's all in some time.
They snap it with about 15 seconds left, and coming in hot. You call a timeout after Deshaun Jackson coming in hot with that sack. Jackson, the senior, with his second sack of the season.
You know, just linebacker blitz coming up the middle of the offensive line. It looks like that left guard, Tyler Thomas, didn't pick it up. You have to see that before you engage. You have to see where that linebacker's going on that delayed blitz. He comes right up the gut, puts a hit on the quarterback.
Tough outing so far for Raymond Moore III, 2 of 9. 26 yards for the redshirt freshman, and a third 3-and-out and third sack for this Bears offense. Still a 2-score game, Jay. So again, you said it earlier, the ability for Morgan State to hang around, the importance for the Bears defense to make sure that Delaware State doesn't put on any more points before going into the locker room. Good punt there by Alex Amaya. But a flag out back near the 21. Is that running into or roughing the kicker, you think? And this is,
I mean, the only one you would consider taking if it was, you know, the unnecessary roughness, that would come with an automatic first down. But running to the kicker, those 5 yards, no, you got a good punt. So it's a good punt when the ball hit the ground. Yeah, they're going to call that just running to the kicker. So yeah, I think you decline that penalty. And
so it was declined, and Delaware State will have 1:03 left before going into the locker room. Remember, they got the ball to start the game, scored on their opening possession, and then put up another touchdown in the second quarter, earlier in this quarter.
And I'd like to see Caden Bennett run the 2-minute offense. Last week when we saw him, he was out of the game. In this situation, they went with Sarray, but now I want to see Caden Bennett show you have command of this offense and increase the lead before the half.
They're going to put it on him, and they're hauled in. Good catch, good throw, good catch. And they're going to move quickly after the reception from Clark.
Yeah, let me not say good throw. That was a great pass. Difference between a throw and a pass. He passed the ball to the weakness of the defense. He knew where the soft spot was going to be and executed that play. Made it look easy.
Bennett, a guy they have a lot of trust in. They like his leadership. They love his ability. And Bennett is airing it out. Got one-on-one coverage and puts it right in the breadbasket as is hauled in by Tamir Ellis. Going back-to-back with the tight ends. And Ellis puts him deep inside now, Bear territory. A red zone opportunity after that 38-yard reception. 33 seconds to go. The clock stops temporarily as the ball is spotted. Chains moved. And then a whistle here.
It's a great job of knowing the matchup you want to attack, but look at the white jerseys that were behind the gray jerseys in the secondary. Nice execution by Delaware State.
They issued a sideline warning for Delaware State. So Bennett with some happy feet, looking, a lot of time ticking off the clock. He decides to tuck it underneath and run, and he's tripped up.
Did not get out of bounds.
Stays in bounds.
That's big.
So you got to get to the line of scrimmage, try to spike it, and you'll have potentially one more play There's no timeouts. That's what Coach Jack is saying. And with 1 second left on the clock, they're going to bring on the kicking unit.
Well, the only mistake probably you could say Cade Bennett made during that drive was not deliberate enough about getting out of bounds. Fortunate that they've got 1 second left to get this field goal attempt off.
And Thomas Monig, a 36-yard attempt. His first field goal attempt of the season. And the lefty puts it up, and it is no good. Well off the mark, and that's what takes us to the close of the first half. So Delaware State drove the ball down the field, got exactly what they wanted. Kicking game has had some challenges so far this season. We saw it right there in 14-3, a 2-score lead for Del State on the road.
Opportunity missed to expand the lead going into the halftime. They moved the ball efficiently down there, but at the end, did not solidify. And Morgan State still hanging around.
And so the approaching storm is preparing to take the field. On this chilly fall night, 55 degrees here at Hughes Stadium. And Coach Jack joining us now. And Coach, outside of that big run from James Jones, how can you get more out of your offense in the second half?
Man, up front, it starts up front. Right now, Morgan State's doing a good job, controlling the line of scrimmage. We got to get tougher. We got to get more physical. Guys just got to block their guys. Right now, they're not doing a good job up front, so we'll fix that second half.
Coach, I got the feeling you wanted to come in here on the road, be aggressive with the play call, and eliminate this team early. But at halftime, it's still 14-3, still hanging around. How you feeling about your team right now?
Defense playing a hell of a job right now. They're putting pressure on their quarterback and not, allowing them to make big plays. Right now, we just got to do a better job on offense. I just feel like it comes to up front. Our running backs, they're going to do a good job and keep trying to press. But right now, our offensive line is struggling right now. I think, we just got to do a better job. That's all it comes down to.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
Well, you can already feel the intensity that's on the way into that Delaware State locker room, but it was the big run from James Jones is the highlight so far of this first half. Delaware State leads 14-3 against Morgan State. Welcome back. Tiffany Green, Jay Walker here with you from Morgan State. Damon Wilson, the head coach of Morgan State, is joining us now. And Coach, what was your message to your team at the half?
Man, we got to settle down and play football. Man, we played a horrible half of football offensively. Didn't execute up front at all. Didn't make the right reads and that sort of thing. Defensively gave up an explosive play early. And I think we settled down and played better defensively. But we have to execute offensively. That was not a good first half of football.
Yeah, and what adjustments are you looking to see from your offense? They're obviously putting a lot of pressure on your freshman quarterback, trying to rattle him. What are going to be some of your plans for going forward in the second half?
We got to stay ahead of the sticks. We can't get no third and long situations. That's when they bring most of the pressure. So we got to stay ahead of the sticks and be able to run the football early.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, got it.
And after the kickoff, we'll see the first look at this Bears offense coming out of the locker room, running the football. That was not necessarily their specialty. They picked up 1 yard per carry on the run. They struggled to really find any offense. He talked about the way that they just did not have the kickstart of energy that they needed. So we'll see if those adjustments will play out here.
Right there, that's what I'm looking at right there. When the coach says he has to stay ahead of the sticks, 21 yards running the football, not staying ahead of the sticks, that's putting you behind the sticks. They have to do better on first down plays, particularly when they run the football.
And they're going to trust their redshirt freshman quarterback and the drop from Justin Perry.
And now, in football lingo, you're behind the sticks. If you call a pass play on first down and you don't complete it, now you're playing behind the sticks. And coach said the number one thing they had to do was play ahead of the sticks. And that thing's 3 or 4 yards per play on first down, but they're not executing well.
You see the numbers for Raymond Moore III, out of right here in Baltimore, Maryland, 2 of 10, 26 yards. It's been a tough night so far for the youngster. So they hand it off to Jason Collins Jr., and the tackle made by Brian Bates. Bates, who's been all over the field tonight, a tackle for a loss of 1.
And this is a situation where it's just Delaware State clogging all the holes. Nowhere to run. Look at the white jerseys there. Nowhere for the running back to bounce into, forcing 3rd and long. And this is where Raymond Woody has looked like a freshman in these situations, not securing the football, not making the right decision with the football. Let's see what type of adjustment they make. Pressure's coming once again. They're going to keep rattling them in the pocket.
You see
Freshman
there,
mistake.
Corpoy, and Corpoy brings him down as Moore held on to it. Corpoy with another big play here tonight.
Tiff, if you're a running quarterback and you're a freshman quarterback, if you're not going to read coverage, you have to know what to do. You have to know how are you going to escape. And relying on a spin move like that is not an escape route. As you're dropping back, you're going to start to feel where you're going to vacate the pocket from. He's not doing that because he does not know where the pressure's coming from, and that's making bad things worse.
Alex Amaya, who was busy in that first half, and here starts off the second, and that was dropped by Jenkins. Jenkins, luckily to get a piece of it, pick it up, and hold on to it. And so now, when you think about, that's not the way that you were hoping to start this 3rd quarter, right? Your defense was able to walk away, and you saw that missed field goal at the end of the first half from Delaware State, so you keep it a 2-score game. But now, Del State has it. Caden Bennett has been solid here tonight, 10 of 14, 138 yards. You saw it flash up quickly on the screen. On 1st and 10, the low snap, he handles it, and the pass delivered and caught on the sideline into the hands of Lally.
And I think the challenge becomes the defense has to score points for it. I mean, they're going to have to go out there and play more aggressive. There's good concentration and secure the catch, but as a defensive coordinator, you start making the more aggressive calls. It's not the offensive night. They're struggling to figure out Delaware State defensively, so you may see some uncharacteristic aggressive calls from Antoine Sewell for Morgan State, just trying to keep his team in this football game.
And they toss it to Lally, and Lally trying to look for some room to run, and good discipline assignment football there from the Bears. And you got to credit Antoine Sewell, like you said, in that first half, making the right calls given this injury-riddled defense that he's working with.
Yeah, and it's just been some great, better individual efforts from Delaware State. You know, the home run shot they had earlier, the running back was bottled up earlier before he got outside to contain. Big third down here to set the tone here in this second half. Middle of the field open.
And they elect to run it with Marquise Gillis, who reverses field. Bennett tries to lay down the block, and then Gillis is strapped down. And good play right there by the defense as Joshua Narr able to tackle him down. Loss of 9 on the carry.
This is another one of those plays where I was going to say, Coach Sewell is putting you in the right position. You have to bring him down. Took a number of Morgan State defenders to get him down to the ground, and finally able to do so and force a punt.
Well, a quick 3 and out for Del State's offense, second of the night. So Dyson Roberts standing at his own 11. Punts it away. He had a 66-yarder earlier tonight. This one is going to be out of reach for Leatherberry. There is a flag back in the area where Roberts was punting.
Another running into the punter again, as we saw in the first half. Probably be declined again. Not enough to ensure first down.
It's the preliminary showing from Toby Johnson.
Running into the kicker. Defense, number 20. 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
So they're going to elect to re-kick it, Jay.
I don't agree with this call because it wasn't a great punt. You know, so, you know, you're moving back 5 yards, but you're giving the punter an opportunity to make it up with his legs if he booms one, which we've seen him do tonight.
Perhaps an opportunity to set up Leatherberry. Leatherberry, who is a fantastic returner, who can maybe get something going here in the return game. He had a 46-yard return that helped spark the team last week in their comeback that came up short. And here, another good kick for Roberts, and in practically the same area that we just saw.
I was right. They lost 3 yards, Tip. I was right. I would have declined the penalty.
Here's our ABC Saturday College Football triple header. The top teams in the Big 12 square off at noon Eastern in Lubbock. It's number 8 BYU and number 9, Texas. Then undefeated Texas A&M sits atop the SEC as they take on 19th ranked Missouri to cap off the day with 4th ranked Alabama hosting LSU in Tuscaloosa. Each game is also available on the all-new ESPN app. Back to action here. Jalen Flood in motion. Moves to the top of your screen on 1st and 10. They hand it off to Jason Collins Jr. And Jason Collins Jr. with a great run across the 45-yard line. And the preseason Offensive Player of the Year with a 14-yard run brought down by Wayne Favors III.
Great job on the seal block by number 89, the tight end. That's the push-out block there that allows Collins to get to daylight. Big run for Morgan State. That is getting ahead on 1st down.
I feel like you're going to continue to drill that home throughout the rest of this half, Jay, as a short one out to Leatherberry.
1st down is going to be the key. You know, you're going to judge Morgan State offensively by how they do on 1st down. If they pick up 2 yards, they're behind the chains. If they get 3 or more, they're ahead of the chains. You're giving your offense a chance.
Gain of a couple, 2nd and 8. They give it to Collins again. Cuts back, finds inside, and across the 50. After that 3-yard gain, down now at the 49-yard line. So Collins, who is limping off the field after that carry.
They've had success running behind the tight end, number 89, Tyreek Wood. If you look at his little bunch formation, he's in front of the formation, so don't be surprised if they try to use him to get involved if they elect to run the ball or some type of pick play.
Going up and getting it, and nice hauling in by Rameese Jones. Jones using those long arms to reel in the catch, a gain of a dozen and a 1st down.
The defensive back took an aggressive angle, tried to undercut the throw. Good concentration by the freshman. You only need 1 foot in college. 1st down, Morgan State.
And then jumping off sides, and it's going to be tack on a 5 more for Morgan State as the Hornets guilty of the infraction.
I'm glad they clarified.
It's 1st down.
I'm glad they clarified with contact, because I thought Morgan State was going to get a free play. It seemed like the defensive lineman was in the neutral zone, but they said he made contact, so that's why they whistles blew.
So it's going to bring up 1st and 5 for the Bears. And Raymond Moore, the 3rd, rolling to his right, looking, and then tosses it out of bounds. It's going to bring up 2nd down. Evaluate that quarterback play.
I'm not going at the quarterback. I'm going at the offensive coordinator. The key is getting ahead on 1st down, staying ahead of the chains. You get the penalty, you're ahead of the chains. But you have an incomplete pass, now you're like 50-50 ahead of the chains. So you're supposed to run the ball. You get 1st and 5, run the football, then maybe 2nd and 1 you do it. You have to realize the type of strategy in this game you want to use, and the offense has to be in tune with what the head coach wants to help out the defense.
Let's see what they come up with the 2nd and 5. Nice fake, and there an opportunity and positive yards. It's going to be about a yard. Not even that. There's Deshaun Jackson, Corpoy, again, the guys getting to where they need to be. And so now 3rd and 5, Jay, to your point, the 50-50, not in favor of the 50, in favor of Morgan State.
And this is a huge play on 3rd and 5 for this offense, but just remember it was 1st and 5. And now they're looking at 3rd and 5. That's not how you play when you're trying to stay ahead of the chains.
Well, again, Morgan State searching for their 1st win in the MEAC. They're trying to convert here. They've had a hard time on third downs tonight, and it continues as the pass well behind and incomplete to JoJo Kennerly.
And that's a miss. There was one-on-one coverage on the outside, defensive back giving you a 10-yard cushion. And he's going to run a slant route. And I don't know if there's miscommunication between a slant or a hitch route, but that was an ugly play with an untouched, uncovered wide receiver.
Given down by 2 scores, they're electing to go for it, at least show that they're going for it here on 4th and 5. They've got to get to the 27-yard line. And the pressure was brought, and the pass incomplete, and a turnover on downs for Morgan State. And so electing to roll the dice and go for it, Damon Wilson's offense cannot convert. Delaware State gets the ball back when you come back. Back here at Hughes Stadium on this Friday night, a 14-3 affair ahead of this one as we welcome you in with the president of Morgan State University, Dr. David K. Wilson. And Dr. Wilson, you are doing a marvelous job running this national treasure that you have here. What's happening at Morgan State?
Well, you know, Morgan is in a tremendous period of transformation. One can argue the greatest transformation in the 158-year history of the institution. And you come to the campus, you see it everywhere. During my tenure here, we just eclipsed $1.4 billion in capital improvements. We also are offering 150 different academic degree programs here. We have students from practically every state in the nation and over 70 countries. And so we're very excited.
Now, Dr. President, you know, I call him my friend. He's one of the guys that I've seen. And for those people who don't know, Morgan State is probably, I'm going to say, top 5 HBCU college campuses in the country. The growth is tremendous around here. So what gets you excited? What gets you excited? If I'm a kid, why am I coming to Morgan State?
Well, because we believe in you. We believe that this is the place where you will conduct your blooming. This is the place where you will get everything that you need to be able to dance on the world stage with anyone, any place, anytime, no matter where they went to school. And so this is a place where you never have to walk around campus anytime asking the question, do I belong here?
And I will say this now, you all have been knocking on the door in football for a couple years. I mean, the bear was asleep for decades. Now you all are getting close. What are you thinking? How big would it be for Morgan State to get this thing going on the football field?
Well, this is the last phase of our transformation, is to make sure that our sports are competitive, that we are winning championships, and we are we're really on the cusp of that, and we think that we're building some great competitive academic and athletic programs together.
One great competitor there is Blanche Gold with the sack of the quarterback, loss of 10 here. And Jay, when you see him just get to the quarterback, that's the type of transformation that this defense wants to continue to see.
Yeah, that's a pursuit that they've done, that they do. One thing about Morgan State defensively, they're always going to show up. If the offense ever gets it clicking and in sync with the defense, this is something that could be special here for Morgan State, and that's what they're waiting on. 2nd and 20, soft coverage, keep everything in front of you and just come up and make the tackle if you're Morgan State.
Caden Bennett takes off, goes running. They try to swarm around him and do so. And the fist bump from Dr. Wilson. Last question for you in terms of just the new buildings around campus. I mean, there's so much construction around here. The Health and Human Science Service Center, or Human Services Center, right, is just outstanding in what it's done. How proud are you of all the accomplishments here?
I'm just tremendously proud of our faculty, our staff, our students. We have a great team here, and I certainly thank the state of Maryland, Governor Moore, for the investments being made in us. And we have a $330 million new science complex that we hope to open in fall of 2028. So the transformation continues.
Great things are happening here on the campus of Morgan State University. Here on 3rd and 19, Bennett throws an interception, second of the night.
Let's go,
and the return here, as you hear Dr. Wilson cheering on Lance Boyden. Boyden coming up with the identity as Lance Binden.
And you remember earlier, Tiff, in the previous play, I said, as a defensive coordinator, you become a little bit more aggressive. You're going to need the defense to make plays for the offense, and the Bears answered in a big way with a huge turnover.
Another look here at Binden.
What are you seeing here? What are you thinking, Dr. Wilson, as you see this play take place?
I'm thinking great interception, and let's go Bears and score this touchdown.
Hey, keep it simple. Before we let you go, let you represent your frat. Everybody knows you're a member of what fraternity?
Hey, the coldest ever, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, 06.
I was going to set you up with the 11119. Thank you, Dr. Wilson.
Thank you.
We appreciate the time. And perhaps he's the good luck charm that Morgan State needed.
Has been charged to Delaware State, their second of the half.
And let's see if they learn from it before. They got the interception in the first half.
First down, Morgan State.
Remember when they got the interception in the first half, they did nothing with it. Now let's see if they can put some points on it, because if they don't score, defense is going to lose hope. And that's what breaks up football teams.
Well, first time that the Bears are starting in Hornet territory, thanks to Lance Binden. And can they make good? Moore, pass complete and brought in. That's Dorian Harris, the running back out of Tappahannock, Virginia. Gain of 17, 1st and goal.
Great concentration. He goes up, knows he's going to get hit, anticipates the fall, but holds on to the football.
They give it to Harris again. And running along that line is Desheen Jackson, who brings him down. Remember, in this series, Morgan State has won 6 straight against Delaware State. They've had great success against the Hornets all time in this series. Now 2nd and goal, and they're looking to score since the first drive of the first quarter.
They're battling right now. This is mano a mano. You would think they're going to use misdirection, but Morgan State getting physical in between the tackles, trying to muscle it into the end zone.
Stop short. Harris, no room to run. That's Jackson again. And Corpoy.
What do? You want to score, but you take the field goal here.
Take the points.
Because if you make it 14-6, you're only down by 8. That's a touchdown, 2-point conversion. If you don't get it here, you're down by 2 possessions. But you're 0-2 in conference play, go for it. Misdirection, you cannot go right up the gut. You have to draw them into the middle, make them think you're going to attack the inside, and bounce it one way or the other to the outside.
Dale State, their first of the half.
Well,
30 seconds
unsure
left.
of what Damon Wilson's crew was going to do, Deshaun Jackson says, we need to talk about it. They spend their first time out of the half ahead of 4th and goal. And Jay, while I am in full agreement with you that, yes, you got to try to take the points or try to go for the touchdown, I say you take the points. Because if you don't get it, then how disheartening would that be if you had great field position, the setup, the interception, all of that?
You're 0-2 in conference. You're 3-6. You're playing right now the #1 team in conference at your place. You go for it. Give yourself a chance of pulling off the upset. Pulling the upset. In worst case, they listen to you. Of the timeout, they change their mind. They listen to you, which I said was the right thing to do, but I said you're 0-2 and you think about it, would not be mad if you went for it.
It's up and it is through. So they go for it, down by just 8 as Amaya makes the little chip shot for the Bears. They do walk away with points in this one. Come back with us to Baltimore. The magnificent marching machine getting into it here. 3rd quarter after the field goal for Morgan State to make it a 1-score game. Let's listen in. I love that bounce. See now, because everybody gets into it. You don't come away with any points, Jay. I don't know if the band's playing right there, coming out of break, okay? You hear the fans. The band is getting into it now, and
I get it. So it's a one-possession game, right?
One-possession game.
However, what did we learn during the break from our statistician extraordinaire?
We're not, Alan Thrifley, we are not going.
We'll tell the viewers.
The viewers
have a right to know that.
Should know that they are 0 for 5 on 2-point conversions this season. The Bears are. Good time to tell you that November 4th through the 9th is College Sports Communications Membership Appreciation Week. The lead communications for tonight's game is Leonard Haynes from Morgan State. And thank you to all the athletic communication staff members who support our student athletes, coaches, and institutions. Tiana Seifers from Delaware State did an amazing job, but I want to give just a quick shout out to Kamani Anderson, a junior strategic communications student who's a tour guide on Morgan State's campus. She was the one who hipped us to the newest building here on Morgan State's campus. Lowering the head shoulder is James Jones, tough run of 8 yards.
And prior to that play, the Morgan State student section had your back. You know, they were into it. They got the points. Hey, we're within one. Hey, we can do this. And then the defense picks a bad time to give them an 8-yard run and kind of deflates the building a little bit.
Got to get to the 35-yard line if you're the Hornets. The pitch out, nice haul in by Sean Weston. Weston, first carry of the night is good enough for a first down. Weston, the freshman out of Inglewood.
Watch this quarterback with a shake. Get the free shake, get rid of it. Drew the defensive back in just for that one step, and that allowed the runner to get to the outside to pick up the first down.
So approaching 2 minutes in this third quarter. That field goal from Morgan State, the only points so far of this second half, as a nice open field tackle made there to take down the receiver. That's Hiroshi Carr. Once again, no gain on the play. 2nd and 10 for Delaware State. And you heard Coach Jack going into the locker room, not necessarily pleased with his offensive line. We saw them do an outstanding job against Norfolk State last week. This week, they're not getting the hold or the push up front that they were looking for, as Weston is quickly wrapped up again. No gain on the play, maybe a loss of one.
You know, I think this is a learning experience for Coach Jackson. Me at conference play, I mean, these are your neighbors. You know, Morgan State knows Delaware State. Delaware State knows Morgan State. So while Delaware State was making the big headlines, Morgan's been going to battle with them for years. So they kind of know that, and this is what MEAC football becomes. Who's the toughest in the trenches? And at the end of the day, put yourself in a position to try and win a game at the end. And this has turned out to be a classic MEAC battle between two long rivals.
Play clock winding down here on 3rd and 11. Low snap. Bennett delivers, and the pass breakup made, and holding the receiver in check is Akai Harvey.
Another break on the ball, trying to throw the ball late to the outside. Morgan State's got a game plan. Keep them in it. And now it kind of makes sense what we say for years. If Morgan State ever gets an offense to go along with the traditional defense, the rest of the conference will be on notice.
Holding things up as the play clock is winding down. They get it off. Dyson Roberts punts it away. Fair catch for Malik Leatherberry. So Morgan State now has an opportunity to build off of that last drive. Remember, it resulted in a field goal after the interception by Lance Binden. And Damon Wilson's team has hung in here all game long, Jay. You got one of those red-hot teams in Delaware State coming in, and yet they were able to hold them to just 14 points. Meanwhile, not necessarily the production on offense that the Bears want to see, but they've got an opportunity to still be in this one. Nauden on the carry. And finds a little bit of space. 5-yard pickup brought down by Emerson Martin.
The offensive line is going to have to help out. You're going to need tough running against Delaware State to push them around a little bit, because the passing game has not been there for Morgan State. Inconsistent, having trouble protecting the quarterback and ball security. So that when that happens, rely on the big guys up front to run the football.
They'll need that offensive line to come through, and this offensive unit overall to try to put a touchdown on the board, as Delaware State, Morgan State battling in this MEAC showdown and slugfest from Baltimore. Beautiful night scenic overlooking the harbor. Inner Harbor. I'm sorry, I got to get it right. Inner Harbor here in Baltimore. Checking out the game summary. 238 total yards of offense for Del State. Morgan State under the century mark. A couple of turnovers for the Hornets, capitalizing on that last drive. As Morgan State brings it a one-possession game. Jay Walker, Tiffany Green here with you. Start of the fourth quarter. It's 2nd and 5 for the Bears. And coming through and taking off. We've got liftoff, ladies and gentlemen. Randall Naughton in for the touchdown. 67-yard sprint. And that's the way you start off a fourth quarter, Jay Walker.
And that's also proof that if you dominate a team, but you let them hang around on the scoreboard, they still have hope. And Morgan State explodes.
Longest rush of the season allowed by this Delaware State defense, and now Morgan State with an opportunity to tie this game. They're going to go for 2 here. And we did mention earlier, they have not been successful converting on 2-point conversions this season. 0 for 5. They're looking to change it, and they're able to do so right there. Tie ball game. Credit Naughton the entire way. Got over the century mark in total yards. A big chunk play by Naughton. Capped off by that 2-point conversion.
I really like the decision on 2-point conversion to go outside the tackle box. You know, everybody's thinking you're going to bunch it inside, get to the outside. All you have to do is take contact, keep his knees off the ground, and able to get it to the end zone. And great job. Untouched up the middle of the defense. Credit to the center, Daniel Casillas, number 74. Jared Burrell, number 60, and number 70, Tyler Thomas. Great assignment football, winning their matchups to spring on for the big score.
And I love that you mentioned the O-lineman, Daniel Casillas Jr., because he told us at MEAC Football Media Day earlier this summer in M&T Bank Stadium, when our running backs do well, that's a good sign and a credit to us. As an O-line, another look here, and looked like his bottom may have been down on the ground.
Yeah, I think that torso was down. I'm trying to find a polite word, politically correct word to say butt.
I said bottom.
Okay. So,
bum bum? No.
yeah, I think
Tush.
I think upon review that looked like that might have been down. Where was the ball? It was on his, he was twisted around.
And if you're Deshaun Jackson, understanding that your team was on a high after walking out of North Carolina Central on their homecoming with a win, another big lift of emotion last week in the link amongst that crowd of 47,000 plus, you wondered about maybe a letdown here for your team and kind of taking off a little bit.
Taking the bus ride down. That's going to be a good look there. That is.
Ooh, see, there, it didn't
After
appear.
further review, the ball carrier was short of the goal line. Therefore, the try is no good.
So they're going to take the 2 points off the board. So it looked like a 2-point conversion, but it wasn't.
Still, close game here, explosive play, and we've got ourselves a good one here in the fourth quarter. I saw Martin Bayless on the sideline for Deshaun Jackson. Bayless, NFL guy, one of the guys that did it well on and off the field, and talked to him earlier, and he said that you know, he used to do the football camps, and Deshaun Jackson was one of his campers back in California. And Deshaun was a little boy and played forward. Now he's on the staff. great guys, good group of guys to have around you. I will say that about Coach Jackson. He has quality folks that are around him.
On the return, Kyrie Benton, and he's tripped up beyond the 20-yard line. Kick off your Week 10 NFL Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern with the Countdown Crew on ESPN and the all-new ESPN app. They'll have all the early breaking stories, injury updates, and previews of each game right up to kickoff. All right, ball game, folks. If you're just tuning in, Morgan State, who was trailing 14-3 at the half, put up a field goal and a touchdown. The two-point conversion unsuccessful, and that brings us to our score here. Well, Delaware State gets it out to Najee Lally out the hands of Jaden Bennett, a gain of 6. And I'll tell you this, you know Nemo Washington is expecting to see more yards put up by his Hornets unit than he saw in the third quarter. They only gained 9 yards in that third quarter. And we're talking about a team, Jay, coming in who leads the nation in rushing in better than 303 a game. Tonight, 87.
And that's been the difference. They're not on their mark. And they need to figure out a way to get it going. And in conference play, your neighbors know you. And Morgan State not looking at the numbers that Delaware State's done this year.
The pass complete to Maurice Clark for 12 yards. And Bennett, who has been banged up and battling through an injury for most of the season, is trying to tough it out. We saw this last week from him as well.
If I'm his coach and you're limping around, you're going to pull those knee pads down, cover up those knees. But that's the new trend. Not a big fan of, but you see it a lot. Good catch. Did he come down with that traffic?
They're going to say it's incomplete.
I think the problem that's happened for Delaware State, they were so intent on putting them away early. Good job by the officials. Ball hit the ground. Putting Morgan State away early, trying to get the big lead, aggressively going for it on fourth down, that when they did not get that big lead, all of a sudden you find yourself in a fight and it's a close game and you've lost momentum.
And they hand it off to James Jones. Jones nowhere to go, and that clues you in too to the types of games that we have seen from Morgan State this season. We came on the air talking about the number of close games that Morgan State has been in this season, the close losses they had to Towson, to Georgetown, to Howard, all last minute, last second plays. And then the fight that they showed against South Carolina State last week, their comeback comes up short, but you know, Damon Wilson's crew has been gritty and fighting and tough all season. That's what he loves about this team. Bennett, pass incomplete.
You know, and from that graphic with the close scores, you would like to think sooner or later a team's going to learn how to win one of those close games, and that's what he's looking for. You're in another close game here. Do they have what it takes? Have they learned from their mistakes to get a conference win?
Well, that was what we talked with him about earlier this week in the coaches meetings, right? What was going to be the message to the team or the theme coming into not only this game, but for the remainder of the season? He said, well, we've got to finish. And when we finish, we've got to finish strong. So his defense forcing a punt here. Dyson Roberts puts his leg into it. Malik Leatherberry with the fair catch. And we'll come back here with 12:33 to go in this one.
The college football playoff begins December 19th and concludes with the national championship January 19th on ESPN.
All right, let's look at it. College football playoff rankings as of November 4th. And Jay,
I'm curious. You know,
why so?
Those folks in Iowa, they start to get some hope like they're real. You know, they think they can beat Oregon and, you know, Ohio State and Indiana. Iowa trying to sneak in there, opportunity to prove if they're real or not.
And so is Morgan. They're trying to prove if they're real right now. JoJo Kennerly with the reception. And you see something clicking or changing here from the Bears offense, and especially this youngster quarterback.
A little bit of confidence, getting some time, and when the running game becomes that threat, they start to focus on the stacking the box, stopping the run, and it frees up passing lanes in the secondary.
So a gain of 19 on the play. 1st and 10 from the 40. Raymond Moore III on the run, and Moore turns to corner and quickly steps out of bounds.
And I believe that Moore's going to have to make some plays to win this game, but I don't know if Moore's going to be the guy to win this game for you. Stick with those guys up front. Give me a shot of guys up front. I want to see number 70, Tyler Thomas. I want to see Burrell. Those guys right there, Casillas, who we talked about, they're going to have to win this game. This type of game, 2-point game, they got to get nasty and dig deep here in the 4th quarter.
Well, and that was an area of concern because of the lack of consistency that they've seen from the offensive line so far this season, but they're gelling together right now in these last couple of drives. Jason Collins Jr. on the rush and picks up the 1st down across midfield, brought down by Deshaun Jackson. Gain of 9.
Yeah, see, you know, they're not buying into the Coach Jack stuff right now, Morgan State. They're going after the players that are on the field. And if you're Delaware State, you need to bring out that warrior mentality that Coach Jackson likes in his players. Nothing was going to be easy. Close game. You got to punch back, because right now they're getting punched around.
Randall Naughton in the backfield. Remember, he had that 67-yard touchdown run the last drive to bring them within 2. They hand it off again, and much like we saw before, another nice burst up the middle from Naughton. Samuel Scaife, the 4th, with a tackle, gain of 11.
And really doing a good job with the formation there. Schematically giving them a balanced formation, 2 tight ends on each side, forcing Delaware State to show the strength of their defense, helping out the running game. And this been those type of look when they go 2 tight ends, having trouble figuring it out. Now they balance it when they go in motion.
Naughton once again, the running back out of Olympia Fields, Illinois. Started his career at Army, then came over here to Morgan State. 8 carries tonight for 105 yards, building upon, again, he had 81 last week against South Carolina State.
How ironic, a young man that went to Army, and it's Veterans Appreciation Night here at the stadium. He came over with offensive coordinator Apollo Wright, who was at New Mexico, with a chance to make an impact.
Moore with space, steps up, the quickness of Moore, and a flag, and it's likely going to come back.
And this was late. And when I say late, the quarterback had escaped from the pocket when they called holding on Tyler Thomas.
Offense number 70, 10-yard penalty, it's 2nd down.
You know, the key is when quarterbacks take off, we often see this happen. So you're going to see Thomas right here. Let's take a look. Does he win his matchup? He's at the number 70. I mean, he twists him around. You know, twist and tough break. Tough break for Morgan. Negates a really good run by the quarterback Moore.
Let's see how the Bears respond to that now, with Moore standing in his own territory.
Fumble.
And it falls out. Did he have possession of it? That was Alex Simmons, the tight end. We'll see how they rule that. Was it a catch?
I thought he had a catch that was cutting upfield, and very fortunate.
Rooted on the field if the ball was forward out of bounds. The ball turned back to the return spot of the fumble. It's third down.
So very fortunate there for the Bears. They retain possession.
Look. He's got to field that cleanly. You got to do like Mookie Betts, stay in front of it. That would have been a huge change of possession, because he makes the catch. And when he turns up, I thought there was a good chance. Oh, you just have to scoop that cleanly, and that would have been a turnover.
Morgan State's going to spend their first time out. 3rd and 12 upcoming. We'll come back to see what the Bears offense does here on a big 3rd down. Tale of two halves in this game. Delaware State controlled that first half, felt like they dominated overall, but then if you're just tuning in, folks, new life for Morgan State, 161 yards. They've scored 9 unanswered points. They've got an opportunity to take the lead potentially here if they can continue this drive. Big 3rd and 12 upcoming. And if you're Damon Wilson, what do you do to call for this young quarterback?
You know, what he feels comfortable with, obviously, you know, you want to see curl flat, but once again, he's shown he can be a threat with his legs. Tell him, we have not seen them roll the pocket. Give him a rollout with an obvious, you're either going to throw it or run it option.
And they're reviewing that last play just to see exactly where the ball went out of bounds, as it was bobbled there by Delaware State. Jadarius Perkins couldn't come up with it.
You like the bling Coach Jackson's got around his neck? I mean, that's shiny.
It is, but you know what? It is all D-Jack. Like that's his personality. He's not changing for anybody. You know, he came in, we met him at Media Day for the first time, and he had his own style that he brought in, but players gravitate towards it, right? And he's been able to really win people over with just him being him, and so I appreciate him being authentic. And yeah, I mean, who don't like something a little shiny? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get, you should get a chain like that, like.
No.
So I'm gonna get you a chain, and I'm gonna get you a chain that says 6'7".
Is it gonna be real? Now, if it's real, it's 6'7".
6'7". You know what I'm saying?
6'7".
You know, you gotta be like, you know, Pro Bowler sometimes over, play a decade in the league, you know.
Money not a thing type chain. That's one of those money not a thing type chains. Wish they would have reviewed this during the timeout. But taking a while, and what I always say, I feel like I'm making excuses for these guys, but as long as they get it right, you know, spot the ball right. These coaches and players work so hard during the week For a situation like this, you just want to make sure they get it right on the field.
Always wonder, like, who does this side with in terms of advantage? If you're, you know, a player, wait, your offense, the defense, like, what are you doing as a player during this time?
I believe defense, because the D linemen have a chance to get their breath. You know, the big guys that weigh 340 pounds, 350, now they're getting a full 4 or 5 minute rest. They're going to come off that ball lightning fast, ready to bring it. At the time, I remember Brian Billett actually changed the play call because Seattle called a timeout so they could rest Cortez Kennedy.
After further review, the ball was forward fumbled and muffed backwards. The ball is at the 42-yard line, 3rd down for Morgan State.
So now they have the proper spotting of the ball. It'll be at the Delaware State 42-yard line.
You don't need it all here. You know, 7-8 yards is a good pickup in this play and give you some choices to make on 4th down.
But now it's 3rd and 16, so back a few yards here. And Moore says he's going for it, and just miscommunication on the route. The receiver cut out instead of continuing on towards the end zone, and well off the mark there for Leatherberry. Pass incomplete, and that is not what you want if you're the Bears.
A costly penalty on the holding call that negated a really good run from the quarterback Moore. Now you're counting on your special teams to pin Delaware State inside the 10-yard line would be a big boost for the Bears.
Alex Amaya, the freshman out of Hyattsville, Maryland, who has been busy tonight in the punting game. 6th punt coming. He kind of shanks it off. Let's see the type of bounce that it gets inside the 25. Going to be down at the 24-yard line of Delaware State. So just an 18-yard punt for the Bears. Well, while we have the time, some of the games you'll want to make sure you tune into coming up for the remainder of the season will be in Durham, North Carolina next week, as North Carolina Central hosts South Carolina State on ESPN2 starting at 5:30. Howard at Del State next week, and of course South Carolina Del State. That could be an interesting one to close out the season. Tail of the tape, Walker Harris, one of the best passers that we have seen in the MEAC this season.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Trey Oliver and North Carolina Central are pulling for Morgan State big time right now, having lost to Delaware State earlier in the season.
A nice tackle there made by Eric Hunter. Hunter, who we featured in the Open as one of the premier players in the conference, returning from an injury. Preseason MEAC Defensive Player of the Year. They need him to be more noisy here for the remaining 7:45 in this one.
And this defense has done a great job against Delaware State since the first quarter. Now they need to come up big to give their opportunity one more chance.
You see -2 rush yards here as Caden Bennett gets out of there and is tackled, and pickup of 7. So it's going to bring up 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1 here, Jay. And they've got to get their ground attack going because that's been their identity all season. Credit Morgan State for the way they've held them.
Team that averages over 300 yards per game running the football should have no trouble picking up this yard in a crucial situation.
Low snap. Gillis going backwards, wrong direction, and again the Bears out of hibernation on defense, and Bullet Woodson Brooks with the tackle. Loss of 3 on the play, so 4th and 4 here. And Dyson Roberts going to trot back onto the field, but the way that the defense continues to stand up for Morgan.
Yeah, the low snap throws off the timing, and just a matter of Amari Francis, number 50, not finishing up the block he had against Bullet Brooks. made them pay, and Morgan State's defense continues to do their best to keep their team in the game.
So Leatherberry, who has not had an opportunity to really return punts all night, fair catch. And Jay, you mentioned just how critical this MEAC race is and how close it is. Delaware State, South Carolina State tied at 2-0, and it's a sprint.
I'm going to make one simple statement.
Okay.
Do not let North Carolina Central get back in this race. If they get back in the race, they can run away with it. They've got the loss now, but Delaware State got them. I'm not being disrespectful to South Carolina State, but you want to have a little cushion against Central. And Delaware State right now in jeopardy of giving up that cushion against North Carolina Central that they had so far.
Tied with the MEAC defending champs, South Carolina State, led by Chinnis Berry. Here on the carry to the outside, Jason Collins with a nice move, and then he's popped out of bounds, gain of 5. And again, penalty marker.
If they call this is an acting job. If they call the hold on Quincy Robinson, which I saw, I've got a call like I see it. I think that was an acting job. He had nothing to do with the play.
Offense number 89, 10-yard penalty, it's first down.
Woods been the tight end. In man on the line of scrimmage. It's the battle I'm looking for. He's got him there.
I don't see the hold.
I see an acting job. I mean, that's a tough break there. And that's type of game, you just, tough.
Zipped into the receiver, and the reception made by JoJo Kennerly, pickup of 13. So way to respond back there to try to get some of those yards back. It's gonna bring up 2nd and 7. Kennerly, who's been a 3-year guy in this system, they really like what he's done this season. On 2nd down, pumps, pulls it back in, stays on his feet, and somehow makes something out of nothing. And Raymond Moore III with a great improvisation there, pickup of 14.
What do you call that? That's just the old Forrest Gump offense. Run, Forrest, run. Gets fooled again on where to go with his pre-snap read, gets out of a tackle, and he accelerates really quick. You know, we mentioned it earlier, for a tall quarterback, it takes him no time to get from 0 to 100 in a hurry. Huge first down for Morgan State.
Under 5 minutes to go, ball at midfield. Morgan State trying to, the ball comes loose, it was stripped, and Samuel Scaife the 4th coming up with it. And how tough is that for the Bears as they were driving down the field, and great defense from the Hornets. Deshaun Jackson's crew comes up with it. Perkins.
I mean, the hole is there. Secure the football. Poor job of securing the football by Collins. And the Delaware State defense comes up big.
Perkins stripped that one loose, and Scaife with the recovery. So just like when it looked like Morgan State could milk some clock and drive the ball down the field and potentially put up points to take the lead, Del State gets the ball back here with 4:43 remaining.
And this goes to that graphic that we showed earlier, you know, the close games. Morgan State has to figure out a way to win these close games.
A flag here, we'll find out what it's about.
Illegal substitution, offense, more than 11 players in formation, 5-yard penalty, it's first down.
Now you have to start looking at everything if you're Morgan State. You've got the 1st and 15 coming up right now, but you had to use a timeout earlier in this half when you were in the trail position. Clock management's going to be the key. But it also starts with getting stops right now when they're going to try to run the football on you.
They run it. Stop made. Gain of 3 on the play. Binded was there. to help make the tackle. So Del State is going to just take their time and let as much of the clock run off as possible.
You know, and I don't know if it's because he's injured or a little gimpy, but we've not seen Caden Bennett call his own number yet on one of those RPO options where he can pull it and run it.
And James Jones, who burst forward, and Jones picks up the first down and into Bears.
Good job of accelerating through the hole. Missed tackle there by Eric Hunter. You have to make that tackle. Huge run and puts Delaware State 3rd and 1 after the missed tackle by Eric Hunter. Cannot happen in that situation.
Got ahead of myself there. So on this 3rd and 1, they're able to pick it up and first down here on the run from Jones.
Good job by Jones of showing you a running back that averages coming to the game, averaging 10 yards a carry. Well, you give him the ball twice and he picks up the 10 yards. The numbers work out for Delaware State.
But again, you give credit to this Morgan State defense and the way they've held the top rushing team in the country to just 113 yards so far.
Now you got to get a timeout.
So Morgan State takes a timeout, their second of the half, and we'll step aside here quickly. Here's our ABC Saturday College Football triple header. The top teams in the Big 12 square off. BYU and Texas, a top 10 matchup. Then Texas A&M and Missouri go head-to-head at 3:30 p.m., followed by the nightcap with LSU and Alabama, 4th-ranked Crimson Tide. Taking a look at the chance to reach the CFP, according to our All-State Playoff predictor. BYU, number 7, 89% chance, 84% chance for Texas Tech. Jay, which one are you taking?
I like defense. You know, BYU a little bit stronger defensively. Texas Tech much improved in that category. You can take a good defense with you on the road like we've seen here tonight and still come out victorious.
The Morgan State defense need to stand up here, try to get a stop as Marquise Gillis on the carry. Jaden Carter trying to bring him down. Gillis, the graduate running back, pickup of 6 yards on the play, and a Morgan State player down on the field. They take a timeout, and he pops right back up. And so that's the final timeout spent for the Bears with 2:42 remaining in this one, Jay.
And how gutsy has this effort been? Let's just go by the numbers for Delaware State. How many points per game do they average, Tiffany?
36.
How many yards per game do they rush for?
303.
Are they anywhere close to those numbers tonight?
No.
And what's the reason? Morgan State. Morgan State showed up. I mean, you come in here versus an offense like that, and to defend them the way that they have, you know, I mean, phenomenal job by the defense, but hate to sound like a broken record, but it seems like it's that Morgan State just can't get an offense. What if they ever get one? What if they ever get one? That's what people around here in Baltimore have been wondering for a little bit.
And again, reminding you, this is the fourth-string quarterback. They've had injuries to their first 3 guys, and so this is a redshirt freshman helping to lead. Meanwhile, 3rd and 2, and Delaware State trying to convert. It's Caden Bennett calls his own number, and Eric Hunter swings him down.
Hold on, not so fast. And now they got the 2-minute warning, so for the timeout, and Morgan State's going to get the football back. We mentioned he had not called his number all night. We didn't know it was because he was injured, but because they over-pursued it, look who made that tackle.
That's the guy who they wanted to come up and step out and be noisy and be all the things. And Eric Hunter certainly made a critical play at a critical time for this Morgan State defense.
He missed a tackle early in his drive, but made up for it in a big way on that play.
Well, that takes us to the 2-minute timeout. We'll come back for the final minutes of this one. Two minutes remaining in this MEAC slugfest. 14-12 in favor of Delaware State. Coach Deshaun Jackson and his team trying to remain perfect in conference play here. 4th and 7 upcoming, Jay, and Delaware State's offense remains on the field.
They're trying to get him to jump off side so maybe they can go for it later or a pooch punt. Nothing says you go for it in this situation here. We know they're aggressive with their play call and they want to put the knockout punch, but you cannot go for it in this situation here. Your defense has done too good a job.
They did try to indeed draw them off sides, unsuccessful in doing so. Deshaun Jackson saying, come on back, they'll take the penalty, back them up 5 yards, and then punt it away.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, it's 4th down.
Now, you and I, we like the atmosphere and culture and all that. We're HBCU. This feels like HBCU now. You got net playing. that the next song?
That's
You talking the
it.
name of it?
That's right.
You got the crowd into it. The game is close. Fans into it. On Friday night. Give it to me, Mia. Do your thing.
Roberts on to punt it away as Leatherberry standing at his own 5-yard line, and he's got to come up with it. Does so. And Jay, we have said this theme throughout the game tonight, the close games that Morgan State has been a part of here against Towson in the big battle of Greater Baltimore.
3rd and 11, fourth quarter. You give up that touchdown to lose that game there.
And then, what, a couple of weeks later at Georgetown, last second Hail Mary, and the Hoyas come away with it 27-24.
Can't lose that. Can't let anybody get behind you. Then they followed that up with an overtime loss at Howard during the world's greatest homecoming. And then they came back against South Carolina State a little bit too short. But now, have they learned what it takes to win a close game?
Well, Moore is going to try to help win this game as the pass incompleted through the hands of Malik Leatherberry.
Holds on to this ball a little bit. You got to make that catch to help out your quarterback. You know, Leatherberry is a guy who they really raved about the transfer. He's come in and made an immediate impact. I'd like to see him get the ball on something short and see if he can make somebody miss.
Well, Jay, they've got to drive down the field 87 yards in order, or at least get into field goal position. And Raymond Moore III has got to make sure ball security is at a premium, holds on to it, positive play. Dedrick Gibson, 4 yards, 3rd down here, and the clock winding down with no timeouts.
It was positive yardage, but a sense of urgency. This is a lot of time that's ticking off the clock for a 4-yard quarterback run game. At this pace, they won't make it.
The pressure coming. Moore spinning out, then reverses direction, and Moore stays in the field of play, and a first down picked up by Moore. So the ball
spike it.
Has to be spiked quickly as
they're going
clock
to stop the clock now. You know, they're going to stop the clock for a little bit as they move the chains, but spike it. Don't spend time calling a play. The referee's going to blow that whistle and set the clock. You need to have the ball snapped.
Instead, they call a play.
Get up there, spike it, get up.
And then trying to keep the receiver down as Justin Perry, a little back and forth. Again, a lot of time winding off the clock. You could spike it as
valuable seconds.
These are valuable seconds. You had an opportunity to get with the 12 man on the field.
Wow.
Right across the middle.
And they're still letting time tick after the ball is set. A lot of confusion. You have to be on the same page. This is a 2-minute drive going.
We're trying to get some clarification from Toby Johnson.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 16. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down. By rule, the game clock will start on the snap.
Okay, so now you can take your time, call play because of the penalty. You don't have to be in a rush, no need to spike it. But I call 2 plays.
They're in Hornet territory. Moore shifting again, trying to use his athleticism. Stays in bounds.
Can't have that. Whoa, bailed out with a targeting.
Yep, right at the end of the play as you saw Moore give himself up. And clock stops again.
Wow, this is like the absolute wrong thing you can do if you're Delaware State. It was great defense. A lot of time was going to come off the clock, but I believe it was Bear number 7 that comes in late when the quarterback, as you said, Tiffany, giving himself up.
After the play was over, a personal foul targeting. Defense number 7. The previous play is under further review.
So right there at the end, that's one of the indicators with targeting, is a defenseless player. He's giving himself up, sliding to the ground. Hebert comes in there at the end.
They won't call the targeting. I mean, that's because he missed. He missed. You know, we've seen this conference before where they kind of believe, you know, you can launch, but you had to hit. And we've seen people launch and miss on that, and they've picked up the targeting now. Will they pick up the personal foul? And that's the rule change now. You can pick up the targeting so the player won't be ejected, and you can also pick up the penalty. This is going to play out interesting.
A lot of scenarios here that could be.
I mean, there's no need for Hebert to even make that close.
Right. I don't think there will be targeting, but I do think they will award the 15-yard penalty for the personal foul.
And on top of that, this clock is stopped. So Oregon State was definitely going to lose probably 10 to 15 seconds on that one, trying to come back. Best case scenario, they'll get that back.
So if the 15-yard penalty does hold, that would put the ball on the 32-yard line. From there, it would be a 49-yard field goal attempt. Now, we talked about the number of close games, Jay. Last time Oregon State had a comeback win was back on November 23rd, 2024, when they beat Howard 35-21.
You like throwing that in there. It's okay. It was a good win, and they're still learning how to do it. How great is this in our culture and our community? Just got a text from Trey Oliver.
Okay.
What do you think he said?
Keep my name out your mouth.
He said, I am coaching my tail off from home right now. He's trying to coach Morgan how to get this win right now. Lots riding on this game. And this call right here can be crucial for several reasons, as we pointed out. One, this clock stop. Two, will there be an ejection? And three, will they keep the penalty yardage that goes along with it? So right now the ball sits on
the 32-yard line. And Amaya, we saw him boot through a field goal earlier tonight. Had a couple of makes. One from 37 and one from 19 yards out.
At the further review, there is no foul for targeting. Number 7 may remain in the game. However, personal foul, late hit, defense number 7, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. By rule, the game clock will start on the snap.
That is huge right there, Jay. So they do elect to hold on to that 15-yard penalty. Ball's at the 32-yard line. 1st and 10, 34 seconds remaining, and Coach D. Jack is unpleased, to say the least.
I mean, I think it was a late hit. It went like I thought it would. I thought they would keep the penalty yardage on there, take off the targeting because he missed. And now you got to forget about that play, and your defense needs to make a play. Protect the football. If you're Raymond Moore III, quarterback for Oregon State.
There's some confusion there before the ball is snapped. And Coach Jack, who wears his emotions on his sleeve, a very passionate guy. He says, the team feeds off my energy. And from the intensity that we saw at the start of the game, he is still dialed in here with his team holding tight to a 2-point lead.
Yeah, you know, he's upset about the call, but we've seen earlier where he got a couple of calls, and you know, they're trying to figure out the game clock situation here. It's taking a while, but you have to get it right for the kids and coaches on the field.
Morgan State in search of their first win in MEAC play this season. Coach Jack and his team, who have been perfect so far, trying to remain that way. So the clock is correct, sitting at 38 seconds. They added 4 seconds from when the penalty was originally called.
Comfort zone for his kicker was 44 yards, he said, 45, 44 yards. So need to pick up a couple more.
The pressure coming, avoids it, and
that's what you can't do.
Jaden Mifflin was the first to try to bring pressure his way. Clock continuing to run, and Jay, you got to try to get a play off or spike it.
You know, right now, if a ball caught in the middle of the field, you have to get up there in a hurry. Well, this is a lot of time wasting.
12 seconds to go as Moore just trying to find anything and everything that he could do.
I kick a field goal now. I kick a field goal now because I don't trust the young freshman quarterback to manage his game situation. If you get sacked, the game's going to be over with. All right, so I don't chance it. What are you going out there for? 2 or 3 more points? You're going to try and deep shot in the end zone? That may not work. I'm nervous right now for Morgan State.
It would be a 45-yarder from here. Amaya hasn't made one from beyond 40.
See that? That's why
he avoids the sack, lets it go, and nearly intercepted.
That's why I said I would have kicked the field goal. He dodged 2 bullets there. Sack, game is over. Interception, game is over. Now you at least have a chance. Wow.
And it's going to come down to this. Alex Amaya, the freshman out of Hyattsville, Maryland, going to attempt a 45-yarder at the edge of the range. And just to give the freshman to think a little bit, time to think a bit, they're going to call a timeout.
You know, and seeing a guy like Amaya on this roster, Amaya went to DeMatha High School, legendary DeMatha High School, coached by Hall of Fame coach Bill McGregor. He's kicked in the WCAC, one of the best football conferences out there. He's seen pressure, but is he ready to take his clutchness to the next level?
That is a question only Alex Amaya can answer. His long of the season was earlier tonight from 37 yards. And here to win the game. The kick is up, and it is no good, wide right. And Delaware State holds on and avoids a loss on the road, and the Hornets remain perfect in conference. They were held to a season-low 14 points, but Coach Deshaun Jackson's team dodged a bullet and walks out of the Charm City with a dub.
Intense game on the MEAC rivalry. The leg and distance was there, but it was close to almost not giving him a landing spot, but the officials did the right thing. It was just a missed kick.
Magical season continues, and just when it rains, it pours as it starts to come down here at Hughes Stadium for Damon Wilson, just unable to catch a break. Meanwhile, Deshaun Jackson, who's already tripled the wins from the last 2 seasons, remains perfect in MEAC play.
Morgan State, the same riddle. They have to figure out a way to win these close games. Still a work in progress, but both teams fought hard. And Delaware State doing just enough to come into Baltimore and get the win.
And that expression says it all from Damon Wilson, who his team was in position. His defense did what it needed to do. The leg, enough, as you said, from Amaya, just off the mark. And that's how this one ends in Baltimore.
You know, we watch game day all the time, right? So whenever they do the kick, you know, the Pat McAfee kick, you know, Herb Street always gives us some advice to the guys kicking. You know what he always says? miss it to the right. Right-footed kick, you want to miss it to the right because everybody gets so nervous they pull it left. Left-footed kicker, my advice would have been miss it to the left. He got a little excited. That ball never really had a chance because it was right all the way. Delaware State, the dream season continues.
See good respect there from Jackson to potential NFL player and Eric Hunter. And what a ball game. And finally breaking that 6-game losing streak to Morgan State with a win here, 14-12.
Delaware State's going to learn, you know, right now you're the hunted and teams are going to come for you. You know, every week you're going to get every team's best. And when's that game between them and South Carolina State? Is that the last game of the season?
Well, they've got Howard first, that's next week, and then they host South Carolina State at home to close out the conference season.
Could be for all the marbles. A lot riding. And that game, is that home?
Yes.
Oh, South Carolina State's going to learn. Not easy to go to Delaware State and get a win.
The longest road trip for the Bulldogs of the season. And what a way to survive a scare for Delaware State as their head coach, Deshaun Jackson, joining us now. And you can breathe a sigh of relief, but your thoughts?
Now I can sleep not tonight, man. I was worried. I was stressed out. They made it hard for us at the end of the game, man. You know, some of them calls, it was a little questionable at the end, but at the end of the day, we can't make no excuses. Man, they played us tough. They played a hell of a game today. Our offense stunk the bed. Our defense kept us in there, man. I just tip our hats off, and you know, everybody stayed together. It was a few times on the sideline, man. I was just worried. My team kind of was like, man, we never had this kind of, you know, team have success on us like that, and we struggled a little bit, but hey, we stuck it together.
Well, what do you think you learned about your team in a situation like this game? You know, you've seen it so often. Yeah, not your night, but they pulled through anyway and got you a dub.
Man, hey, we Warriors, man. We just showed today when things didn't go our way and we didn't play our best ball. You know, we stuck together, man. I challenged my team that on this road to where we want to go to, man, it's going to be tough. Every game is going to be tough. It's not going to get easier. Howard's going to play us tough next week. That's all we can worry about. We survived this one. We made it up out of here. The rain came, and it helped us push that field goal to the right a little bit.
Deshaun, Coach Jack, you know, Delaware State, the story that you all have had has been remarkable thus far.
Yes, sir.
How do you keep all the noise out? How do you keep these guys humble? How do they know now they're going from the hunters to the hunted?
Man, it's a daily struggle. Hey, Frank, it's a daily struggle, honestly, man. That's a great question. You know, I challenge my guys every day, man. You know, we can't get too caught up in the noise. We got to block the noise out. We can't take the pats on the back, all that good stuff, man. We got to put our head down. We got to keep working because, I mean, we 2 games away from our destiny and where we want to go, man. I told everybody from the beginning of the season this is going to be a special year, man. So we just got to continue to do our thing, put our foot on the gas, and just, you know, hopefully, you know, we get more wins.
You talked about each week is a championship week. What is the mentality that you have to take from tonight's game into next week against Howard?
Fight. You know, the MEAC is, I keep telling people, man, the MEAC is some great football in the MEAC, man. The MEAC conference, HBCUs alone don't get enough credit, man. We play great football here, man. I'm blessed and honored to be in this position to coach these young men and just keep challenging, man. Every time we get out there, it's going to be times that it's going to get hard. Tonight was a hard game, and at the end of the day, we need rest. We got a game next week, so we're gonna get it. It's Friday, so we're gonna get Saturday off. We're gonna be back in the building working Sunday to get ready for Howard.
Coach Jack, your team can do hard things, and they proved it tonight.
Man,
thanks for the time.
Thank you, appreciate y'all. See y'all soon.
Jay Walker, your final thoughts.
Hey, they're gonna have to learn. That's gonna be the biggest challenge. I mean, Morgan's a team that right now has not won a conference game, but they took the #1 team in the conference to the limits, and Delaware State's gonna have to learn. Teams are coming. These next 2 games, as Coach Jack said, they could be the most special games in Delaware State football in quite some time. Let's see if these young men are up to it. You know what I wouldn't do? I wouldn't bet against them because Coach Jack, he told you, Tiffany.
He told you too,
he told you at Media Day. Whether or not we believed or not is something else, but hats off to the Hornets.
He's trying to bring home a conference title for the first time since 2007. They're more than halfway there. And again, another notch of confidence here on the road in this environment against Morgan State. A tough fought battle between these two teams. Tip your hat to the Bears, but in the end, it was the Hornets rising to the occasion. A 14-12 victory for Jay Walker and the rest of our great crew. I'm Tiffany Green saying, we out.